go. Head On with Bob Kincaid. 3 hours of conversation, cussin' and a discussin' with America's only born and bred Southern liberal talk host. Head On with Bob Kincaid is brought to you each night by Coal River Mountain Watch. Coal River Mountain Watch invites you to become part of the solution, part of a sustainable future, part of the uprising against mountaintop removal. Coal River Mountain Watch, crmw.net. And now, from high in the hills of beautiful West Bicod, Virginia, here's Bob Kincaid on the Head On Radio Network.
Well, howdy. And here we go. Friday on the Front Porch is upon us. Beware the Ides of March have never been truer. God Almighty, New Zealand. We'll talk about it. Hi, I'm Bob Kincaid. It is Friday on the Front Porch. If you want to participate in the extraordinary, ordinary roundtable conversation that takes place in the old holler tree that we sublet from the Keebler Elves, we'll just run over to headon.live, and the Skype link is there that'll take you right into the heart of the old holler tree and get you a spot around the extraordinary, ordinary roundtable. And we'll get that going in about an hour or so. Quick fundraising update. Thanks going out to our subscribers for the evening. Thank you very kindly to Norman. Thank you, Norman, for being a partial sponsor of the program. Thank you to Darlene in Connecticut for being a partial sponsor of the program. Thanks to Robert in California for being a partial sponsor of the program. And thanks to Timothy as well. Thanks very much indeed. Update on the equipment fundraiser. And just by way of information, I've got to order that next week. If we're gonna do this, I've got to order it next week, so that it has time enough to reach me from wherever they're shipping it from. Okay. So as of right now, thanks going out to Ralph's and to Chris in Germany. The fundraising goal is down to $1,620, and it's not that far before I can order the little audio gizmo, and then we'll have to wait to see about the laptop to run it. But that's hopefully doable. As far as keeping up with ordinary fundraising for the evening, well, the fundraising goal is $440. So that's 2 days of fundraising, today and yesterday, plus 40 more from, say, Wednesday, and we'll be caught up for the week. All right? So thank you everybody jumping in on the equipment fundraiser. Thanks for your subscriptions, and thanks for what you do during the course of the program. Right. Ides of March. Jesus. Everybody knows by now what happened. A guy with guns walked into a pair of mosques yesterday in New Zealand, opened fire, and unleashed hell on earth. 49 dead, 42 injured. Of the people who were injured, well, one of them's 4 years old, in critical condition. The funerals have begun. The nation of New Zealand is on high alert. Prime Minister Ardern declared that we were not chosen for this act of violence because we condone racism, because we are an enclave for extremism. We were chosen for the fact that we are none of these things. It was because we represent diversity, kindness, compassion, a home for those who share our values. You have chosen us, but we utterly reject and condemn you. That's the right thing to have said. If there can be said to be any right thing to say. God, what a horror. What a horror. But Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern seems to have struck the right tone. The minute I found out about it, the first thing I said was, well, the American disease has metastasized. And look, hey, you know, you want to know something kind of interesting out of this? The New Zealand government said it will move immediately to impose further restrictions on firearms. Because, you see, they don't have a weaponized white-wing media in New Zealand that can scream, "You're politicizing a tragedy. You're politicizing a tragedy. Stop talking about our beautiful guns." They're going to find how this happened, and they're going to make it less likely to happen because, in part, they don't want to be like America. They don't want to be like the United States. They don't want to become a shooting gallery for crazed racists with a lot of guns. And so they will deal with the problem. We all know by now, I presume, what sort of person the murderer was. Hell, he broadcast live footage of him committing the murders and put out a manifesto. Three people are in custody. No names have been released. And, of course, the killer, who I've seen reported is an Aussie, cited Candace Owens, a white winger, an African-American woman, a maggot, as his inspiration. But he had further words for Donald J. Trump. He described Trump as, this is a quote, as a symbol of renewed white identity and common purpose. But then he said he disavowed him as a policymaker and leader. That may seem a bit enigmatic. I think I can explain it. He sees Trump, he understands Donald J. Trump as the white supremacist that he is. But he doesn't think much of him as a leader because Trump is not actively calling for people like him to do what people like him did, what he did. And so, well, I think we need to take a look. And if, in fact, there's more than one shooter, well, it'll be indication that the problem is bigger than suspected. Oh, by the way, I forgot to jump into the chat room. Which I will now do. Do you happen to recall the conversations we have had? And there have been several of them. Good group in the chat room, by the way. We've talked about, in terms of Trump's criminality, his statement that he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and never lose a vote. As Jack in Shreveport points out, as of a few hours ago, all I saw was a statement from the White House condemning the attack, but no statement from Trump directly condemning it or condemning white supremacy. Of course not. There's very fine people. Very, very fine people. But in the course of that discussion, and citing his statement about shooting someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue, one of the things that, in the course of understanding this lunatic doctrine, the guidance in the Department of Justice that says a sitting president cannot be indicted, by way of pointing out how ridiculous that policy, that guidance is, I noted that what it means is that if Donald Trump did shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and kill them, and that there were FBI officers standing there on the scene witnessing the felony in progress, that the Department of Justice says that they could not arrest him. As I've noted before on this program, for reasons that I don't fully understand, we seem to stay out in front of the news curve. Sorry, I've got a cat in the studio. Let me stand by. Okay, Agnes is coming with the to do feline retrieval from the studio. She's a little sweet thing, but there's a cat, honey.
Come here, Nixie. She'll just be in the studio cat. Hi, baby.
She's a broadcast kitty.
Yeah. Who says black cats are bad luck?
Well, you have to talk about the cat being black, Agnes.
Well, because they're the
because the cat is because it's a black cat. That's why.
Because nobody adopts them, and they need to be adopted.
So getting back to what I was talking about before the cat interrupted. We're out in front of news stories, and I don't know why, but we are. Scott in San Diego points out, the early reports in the wake of the madness in New Zealand seems to indicate their citizens and leaders are reacting quickly and responsibly. Meanwhile, over here, I think I saw that Trump managed to offer warm sympathy. I guess he was plumb out of thoughts and prayers. Oh, and he suggested it was just a small group of people. Not sure whether he was referring to the killers or the killed. But here we are. Way out in front of the curve. And reality has caught up again. There's no way you can make a story like this palatable. There's no way you can take the horrifying agony out of it. When a house is on fire, you have to put out the fire. You try to make sure that there's nobody in there. You rescue them if they are. And you put out the fire. But here's the problem, and it's not just New Zealand. There are 157 dead at a plane crash site in or near Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They died, quite possibly, because Julius Geezer threw a temper tantrum and shut down the government over his stupid, dirt, dumb, ignorant as hell border wall that ain't getting built. And a computer software patch that was supposed to have been released was not released because of the government shutdown. And that led to the deaths of 157 people in the Ethiopia air crash. That's on Trump. What else is on Trump, though? Well, it goes back to the analogy that I drew of him shooting someone while the cops watched and then did absolutely nothing about it. That's where we are. The shooters in New Zealand understood his messaging damned well. They recognized him for a white supremacist because white supremacists know their own. So did the guy who murdered 11 elderly Jews at the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh. Trump had been howling for weeks about a caravan invading America. And a guy with a gun went and murdered 11 elderly Jews based upon the messaging of Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. And there's about a story a day that comes across my feeds of some maggot behaving in a repulsive, deplorable fashion. And almost without fail, they all do so because they have been empowered to do so by the President of the United States. Here's the bottom line. He may as well have pulled the trigger in Christchurch, New Zealand, himself. He may as well have pulled the trigger in Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh himself. He is a weapon. And guess what? Even though he is probably an accessory before the fact, which legally means that he is as culpable as the people pulling the triggers, no one in law enforcement is doing a damn thing about it. Ho-hum. Too bad. Just another day. Yeah. And the Congress will do precisely nothing, or worse than nothing. Hey, look, let's check in with that proud representative of the 1st Congressional District of Texas, Louis Asparagus Gohmert. He issued a statement in the wake of the shooting in Christchurch, New Zealand. Let's see how that went. All right, here's a hint. Not well. The shootings at the New Zealand mosques are egregiously reprehensible. The shooters need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, along with anyone who knowingly aided their efforts in any way. There are courts, dispute resolutions, and legislatures to resolve controversies. There is no place for cold-blooded murders. Though New Zealand does not have the death penalty, hopefully its people, through their justice system, will send the message loudly and clearly that such barbarity from anyone will not be tolerated. That's an interesting way of saying thoughts and prayers, isn't it? Yeah. Guess what's not in there? Any expression of sympathy whatsoever for any of the families affected, shattered, devastated, destroyed by the racist murderer or murderers. In fact, neither the word terrorism nor the word racist appears in Louis Asparagus Gohmert's statement. Which is, well, odd. He says it's barbarity, but not terrorism. And he only calls it barbarity in the context of bemoaning the fact that New Zealand doesn't carry out state-sponsored murder in punishment of crime. Now, I'm sure in Texas they'd holler, "Get a rope!" until they found out that the guy was a white supremacist, and they'd say, "Get a parade! Give him a medal!" It's the middle of that statement, though, that is the weirdest and sickest and most troubling. There are courts, dispute resolutions, and legislatures to resolve controversy. There's no place for cold-blooded murders. I guess that assumes there's a place for hot-blooded murders. There's no place for first-degree murder, but according to Louis Gohmert, there's a place for second-degree murder. Murder in the heat of passion. These people are sick. But what he says there, he apparently thinks that the guy's manifesto somehow identifies controversies in New Zealand that could have been addressed by the New Zealand Parliament, if only. He pissed and moaned about Islam and foreigners and manifested his belief in white supremacy. And apparently Louis Gohmert thinks that maybe if New Zealand had only had a law on the books to discriminate against Muslims, that maybe this guy wouldn't have slaughtered 49 and killed 42. As James in Illinois points out, what was the dispute that the gunman had with those 42 innocents in their place of worship? Well, the dispute that he had with them was the fact that they were 89 Muslims engaged in the act of being Muslim. And Louis Gohmert, who, of course, was among the 23 Republicans last week who voted no on a resolution condemning Islamophobia and anti-Semitism, well, Louis just wishes that the legislature would have, maybe built a wall around New Zealand. It's astonishing. You know, if only New Zealand, what he's saying is, if only New Zealand had had a Trump-style Muslim ban, well, it wouldn't have been necessary for that feller to kill those 49 people and maim 42 more. It is an American disease, and it is metastasizing across the planet. In fact, Julius Geezer uses the same language that the murderer in New Zealand used. Just today, he referred to immigration and migration at the southern border. Well, he was signing the veto of the resolution disapproving of his national emergency. And so, in the course of vetoing the bill, he started blathering and he said, Congress's vote to deny the crisis on the southern border is a vote against reality. It is a tremendous national emergency. It is a tremendous crisis. Last month, more than 76,000 illegal immigrants arrived at our border. We're on track for 1 million illegal aliens to rush our borders. People hate the word invasion, but that's what it is. It's an invasion of drugs and criminals and people. You have no idea who they are. In many cases, they're stone-cold criminals. They do a lot of damage in many cases. Invasion. The very same sort of rhetoric the murderer or murderers in New Zealand used. And it is not an accident. That is not mere happenstance. white supremacists talk that way because it is white supremacist code. Spring's coming. Let the sneezing begin. You didn't need to hear that. Yes, Irish Dave pointing out. King Crab Louie, defender of asparagus, decries foreigners in New Zealand. Wait, are the indigenous Kiwis like, white and shit? That'd be no. But, yeah, he done did. We have a president of the United States who is actively involved in urging people on to murder. So instead of soundly and roundly condemning and offering sympathy, well, they announced a maggot rally in Michigan instead. He even provided cover for white supremacists the world over. And of course he did, because he's the president. He is the exalted goddamn cyclops of world white supremacy.
You see today white nationalism as a rising threat around the world.
I don't really. I think it's a small group of people that have very, very serious problems. I guess if you look at what happened in New Zealand, perhaps that's a case. I don't know enough about it yet. They're just learning about the person and the people involved. But it's certainly a terrible thing. Terrible thing. Yes?
Mr. President, for some of the Republicans who voted for this resolution today, they
It's a terrible thing. Terrible thing. What would have happened if he said it breaks my heart? What would have happened if he had said that white supremacists are a blight on our planet? We'll never know, because he'll never say that, because he's one of them. Yeah, Grand Rapids, Michigan, maggot rally. That was the big news this afternoon. Yeah. The press pool reporting earlier today that while he said it was a horrible, horrible thing, and said that he called the Prime Minister of New Zealand to convey our sorrow, and then bang, what we had earlier launches into the invasion rhetoric. And remember the very fine Nazis that he praised in Charlottesville marched saying, "You will not replace us." Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Jews will not replace us. Yeah. And neither law enforcement nor Congress will do a damned thing. And so somebody else somewhere will have to pay with their lives for Donald Trump's rhetoric, hate-fueled, paranoia-fired rhetoric. Jesus. Scott in San Diego says, even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Or, as Lincoln and or Twain possibly put it, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak and to remove all doubt. Well, at this point in time, I'd be happy if he was just a fool. As it is, he is encouraging a terrorist wave of white supremacy the world over. Hey, Jimmy from New Zealand, in New Zealand right now, is in the chat room. We don't want his sympathies down here in New Zealand. All caps, fuck off. It would be, I'm sure she is far too polite and decent to do so. But it would be nice if the New Zealand Prime Minister would say, we probably wouldn't have nearly so much of this if the President of the United States wasn't a white supremacist himself. Yeah. You know, there were other stories until about 8:40 last night. We shall see. No. You have to come to a program like this to hear that level of truth. And because we have lost our way, because we have lost the fundamental understanding of what impeachment is and is for, well, nothing will be done. And so he'll fuel another massacre somewhere. Or maybe in October, when the whole budget comes up and we reach shutdown land, maybe he can kill other people through some program that doesn't get completed because he throws a temper tantrum and shuts down the government. Again, over his godforsaken dumbass wall. Yeah. Just wait and see. Talking about October when we haven't even gotten into warm weather here in the northern hemisphere yet. But we need to be cognizant of it. Yep, spring's here. Can you imagine? That white supremacist murderer live streamed it. A 100 rounds he fired. His manifesto he called The Great Replacement, Towards a New Society, We March Ever Forward. And starts by by quoting Dylan Thomas's poem, "Do not go gentle into that good night." It's the birth rates. It's the birth rates. It's the birth rates. If there's one thing I want you to remember from these writings, it's that the birth rates must change. Even if we were to deport all non-Europeans from our lands tomorrow, the European people would still be spiraling into decay and eventual death. Every day we become fewer in number, we grow older, we grow weaker. In the end, we must return to replacement fertility levels, or it will kill us. To maintain a population, the people must achieve a birth rate that reaches replacement fertility levels. In the Western world, this is roughly 2.06 births per woman. Oh, good. He's got it worked out. He knows how to... Right. There's not a single Western country, not a single white nation that reaches these levels. Not in Europe, not in the Americas, not in Australia or New Zealand. White people are failing to reproduce, failing to create families, failing to have children, but despite this sub-replacement fertility rate, the population in the West is increasing, and rapidly. How is this possible? Mass immigration and the higher fertility rates of the immigrants themselves are causing this increase in population. You know, it's just, I'm sure, an entirely coincidental happenstance that Steve Cantaloupe's King, the white supremacist representative of the 5th Congressional District in Iowa, declared some months back, maybe a year, perhaps more, that you can't make America great on someone else's babies. Oh, but Ilhan Omar, Bruga, Bruga, Bruga. Under the subject line, disgusting perspective, Steve in New York says there are 330 million people in the United States. New Zealand has 4.7 million. To put it in perspective, this attack in New Zealand in proportion would have been a massacre of 3,440 people here. In other words, Bob, proportionally speaking, more people died yesterday in New Zealand than died here on 9/11. Jesus. The manifesto, everything he writes can be found at any number of right-wing, neo-Nazi, white supremacist websites all over the world, but primarily in the United States of America. It is, as I said at the beginning of the program, an American disease that is metastasizing. What did Donald Trump say earlier? Nobody likes to call it an invasion, but that's what it is. Yeah?
Congress's vote to deny the crisis on the southern border is a vote against reality. It's against reality. It is a tremendous national emergency. It is a tremendous crisis. Last month, more than 76,000 illegal migrants arrived at our border. We're on track for 1 million illegal aliens to rush our borders. People hate the word invasion, but that's what it is. It's an invasion of drugs and criminals and people. We have no idea who they are, but we capture them because border security is so good. But they're put in a very bad position, and we're bursting at the seams, literally bursting at the seams. What Border Patrol's able to do is incredible.
You know, the only thing he didn't do there is say that, wir brauchen Lebensraum. I think brauchen is the right verb. We need living space. We're bursting at the seams. He said the Congress denied reality. He wouldn't know reality if it showed up on his front step with a bag full of rubles. Now, you heard the invasion language there. I'd quoted it earlier. There's him saying it. Let's go back to the manifesto. We are experiencing an invasion on a level never seen before in history. Millions of people pouring across our borders legally, invited by the state and corporate entities to replace the white, capital W, white people who have failed to reproduce, failed to create the cheap labor, new consumers and tax base that the corporations and states need to thrive. This crisis of mass immigration and sub-replacement fertility is an assault on the European people that, if not combated, will ultimately result in the complete racial and cultural replacement of the European people. To see this full effect, you only have to look at the population statistics in Western nations for the year 2100. This, the monster said, is white genocide. Donald Trump himself could have said those words. He describes himself. He says, just an ordinary white man, 28 years old, born in Australia to a working-class, low-income family. My parents are of Scottish, Irish, and English stock. I had a regular childhood without any great issues. I had little interest in education during my schooling, barely achieving a passing grade. I did not attend university as I had no great interest in anything offered in the universities to study. Wow. Consider the fact that a university is a university. The word university comes via the word universe. It is a collection, a universe of human knowledge. But this murderer, this massacrer, this slaughterer said that there was nothing to be learned in university that interested him, when a university is a repository of everything we know. He had no interest in knowing anything because he had his hate to keep him warm. I worked for a short time before making some money investing in BitConnect, then used the money from the investment to travel. More recently, I've been working part-time as a kebab removalist. I'm just a regular white man from a regular family who decided to take a stand to ensure a future for my people. Why did you carry out the attack? To most of all show the invaders that our lands will never be their lands, our homelands are our own, and that as long as a white man still lives, they will never conquer our lands, and they will never replace our people. To take revenge on the invaders for the hundreds of thousands of deaths caused by foreign invaders in European lands throughout history. Funny, not a lot of interest there in, under his rhetoric, if the Maori rose up and started lopping off a few white noggins, I guess they'd be taking their land back because, well, no, white folks are not indigenous to New Zealand. To take revenge for the enslavement of millions of Europeans taken from their lands by the Islamic slavers. Like I said, every one of these is a trope you can find on a white supremacist message board. White slavery. to take revenge for the thousands of European lives lost to terror attacks throughout European lands. To agitate the political enemies of my people into action, to cause them to overextend their own hand and experience the eventual and inevitable backlash as a result. This goes on, I kid you not, for 74 pages. And it won't, it's not going to disappear into the night. This guy is already a hero to millions of neo-Nazis and white supremacists around the world, and especially in the United States. His manifesto will be passed from one to the next, and they'll all agree. I know. Monique says, tired of this shit, Bob. We got to pay for their insecurities and the people profiting from it. Why no one ever asked then, why didn't your ancestors stay in Scotland or wherever the hell he's from? No, they left the great Europe. My ancestors were brought here against their will, tired of whining Europeans. Should have stayed in Europe. Be mad at your grandpappy. Well, that's a history thing. It was called transportation. People, many of it, small-time criminals transported first to Australia and subsequently to New Zealand to colonize a land. Well, you want some badass, mean people to do that. Just like Appalachia here. Borderers and Scots were the shock troops of the English, who were and they were sent here to clear out the indigenous people so that the English wouldn't have to do it themselves. My ancestors, at least the Scottish ones, probably would have preferred to stay in Scotland. But had they done so, they would have gotten dead real fast. But the bottom line is he is simply barking mad. The population argument makes no sense. It does not withstand intellectual rigor. It's all just an excuse for hate. Because hate is a powerful, motivating force. Steve in New York mentioned the numerical effect of that attack. And Otto in the chat room points out this statistic from HuffPost. 1 in every 500 Muslims living in New Zealand have been killed. Jimmy from New Zealand says, and who's to blame for this travesty on my homeland? Donald Trump and the GOP. And you're damned right. The Louis Gohmerts, the Steve Kings. You can't make America great with somebody else's babies. A guy who goes and pals around with Nazis and somehow is still in the House of Representatives. Because if they actually moved to remove him, to unseat him, you could not get enough votes to do it. Because Republicans would vote to keep him in his seat. They could call a special election in Iowa's 5th District. They could elect a new member of Congress. But they don't want a new member of Congress. The 5th District of Iowa is completely happy, at least a majority of the ones who go out and vote are, they are completely happy to have a Nazi, a white supremacist, a Confederate flag flyer representing them. Who could have imagined? I think some of us did. Some of us saw this kind of evil busting loose. But on November the 8th, 2016, you wonder, what were the victims of this massacre doing that day when Donald Trump was kinda elected president? Who on that day knew that they would meet their doom because of what the American people did? Yeah, sorry, I tend to think that way. I wonder about those things. So here we are at the top of the hour. Let's run over to the old holler tree and check in with Sparky and the Friday on the Front Porch group. Hey, Sparky.
Hey, Bob, I'm looking at the old holler tree right now.
Oh, good.
And then there's this dog who just wandered in here a while ago. Grass, encrusted front feet, and a dirty tongue, and you know what that means.
Oh, no. Snack time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
He's happier than I don't know. He's on his bed over there now. He's got his ball and his bone, and he's happy.
No, he feels like he did it. He was a good boy. Went out and tidied up around the yard.
Yeah, he just made another hole to have to fill in, or if I stumble. But it's over by the fence, so it's not so bad. I don't walk over there too often. Anyway, there was some raccoons out there in the old hollowed tree last night.
That's their party spot.
Yeah, well, they made a home up there in the hole in the tree. You know, they live in there.
Well, I'm just looking in the chat room. It looks like Billable Rick has had an incident on the highway.
Yeah, I don't know if you can talk.
That's pretty scary. Well, I'm just looking in the chat room. It looks like Billable Rick has had Yeah, that was me coming back at me.
Yeah, Erwin come in. He's not wasn't muted.
Hey, Erwin. Wow. Kind of a tough subject for starting the, what is usually a pretty zany, wacky, lighthearted end of the week. Sorry about that. But it's hard.
Can I ask you, did you watch that Stephen
Yeah, I did.
Stephen Colbert video?
Yeah.
That's the part where he said the syphilitic brain.
Yeah, it's catching on, I think. Somebody out there's listening.
Yeah. There was something else in there, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, that was the one that leaped out at me.
Hey, guys.
Oh, hey, Billable Rick.
There's Rick.
Yeah, I picked that's been a bad day for me, let's just say. My life today changed at about 12:45.
Are you okay?
I hope so. We'll see. Well, let me just set up the thing. I was driving southbound on the 405, just about entering the San Fernando Valley, and I was in the number 4 lane. The number 5 lane is a high occupancy vehicle lane, like for carpools.
Right.
So I was like in what would be considered the fast lane normally, okay? And I'm just minding my business, probably going 70. maintaining distance between me and the car in front of me. And all of a sudden, like a bat out of hell, this aqua, I thought it was green, but it turned out to be aqua based on the color of the paint on my front fender. This aqua green car just swoops out of nowhere, cutting perpendicularly across all lanes of the freeway from the right side to the left. So I didn't see it until it was in the number 2 lane. And all I could do was hit my brakes real hard and probably slowed down to 50. And I contacted him in the, right on the driver's side. I couldn't go to the left because I would have probably hit the center divider, between the 2 directions of traffic. So, there was a carpool lane to my left, but I didn't have time to figure it out. So I tried to hit the brakes and probably hit him going 50. The left front fender is all screwed up. The car could be totaled, I don't know, but it absorbed it pretty well. Airbags deployed. My left shin and my right knee hit like underneath the steering wheel assembly.
Oh yeah, that's a bad place.
Oh, Christ, Rick! Thank goodness you're okay, man.
I think so. My lower back's a little tweaked. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. You can't really tell right away,
Hey, Rick, not to stop telling Rick to go to the hospital, Bob. Walk into an ER, man. Just get checked out.
Yeah, what's it going to hurt? Huh? Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you could
your ass.
You could have internal soft tissue damage you won't know about until you have a problem.
Yeah, then you'll need a lawyer.
Rick, this is my wheelhouse. I don't argue with you about, lawyer stuff. So please, man, trust me on this. Because
okay.
When it comes to a claim, it's not. It may take half a night, but it may pay off for you if there was indeed something.
Well, I've already submitted a claim to my insurance company. I've told them that.
That's all right. You got time to amend it. That's okay.
Yeah. I'll just see how I do. But anyway, I didn't even know how that driver was on the other line, because he I was, keep in mind I'm in the number 4 lane, fast lane, and I was able to drive my car. But I slowed down and slowly made my way towards the right shoulder. But I have to make 3 or 4 lane changes, to do so. It was in the middle of traffic. It wasn't it was semi-heavy, let's say medium traffic.
Rick, and do you have dash cam video?
I'm gonna get one. I don't have one. I need to get one. I need to get one.
On that busy freeway, there may have been some videos somewhere, somehow. You need to track that down if you can.
That's a good idea. They may have some. They have traffic cams, but those are pretty low resolution. I've seen those in the past. They're not so good. So anyway, by the time I made my way to the right shoulder and safely got out of the way of traffic, I was probably a half a mile from where I had hit that car. And apparently the police took a report from that person before they took one from me, and then I waited. It's been a waste of the day, Well,
of course, being a lawyer, don't sign anything at this point. Don't.
Oh no.
Don't agree to anything. Don't say yes. Don't say no. Don't do anything, man. Except whatever Bob suggested. Go to the hospital, bro. It's not going to hurt you.
I might. We'll see. I may just go to an urgent care center just to get checked out there.
They would probably kick you to the hospital due to the fact it was in a high collision accident.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't look like I look myself, so it's not like,
It doesn't matter how you look.
And the funny thing is, I come back to LA after being skiing for 2 days. I didn't fall a single time, either cross country or downhill. And I come back here and I'm in this bogus accident, not a bogus accident, but
life's full of irony, bro. It's still cover yourself if you can.
It's the Ides of March. The Ides of March got me, as I said in the text, the chat text. So
I'm not going to nag you anymore. You do what you want, but you know what I want you to do.
Well, I'll call Star, and she'll probably tell me to go to the hospital too.
Well, you sent just got a note from Darlene in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Poor Billable. He sounds exhausted. I agree. He should have a doctor look him over. All the best, Rick. So,
I sound exhausted. Well, okay. I had 5 hours last night, but.
Well, but see, in one of the reasons you go to the hospital, Rick.
Yeah.
And
create a record.
Well, no, not just to create a record. I used to explain this to people. They'd call me. I've been in a wreck, and I'm like, "Why are you talking to me? Go to the hospital." And one of the reasons you do that is when you're in a wreck like that. One of the purposes of adrenaline, is to get you through a bad patch.
That's true.
To give you the ability to do things you would not otherwise be able to do under the circumstances. So odds are you've still got a good bit of adrenaline in your system, and adrenaline will actually reduce your pain receptors' ability to process pain.
Right.
And so tomorrow, I would wager that you're going to be miserable.
And you could have a head injury, too, that won't crop up for 2 or 3 days. Just go, Rick. I mean, I know you're going to say you're fine, and that's cool. I hope you are. I mean, I'm pulling for you. But just cover yourself, please, man.
Steve, you're talking to the guy when he was like 42 or 43, was walking around with a burst appendix, getting ready to meet with the U.S. attorney on a case, thinking I was fine. Thinking I just had like the case of the flu, but I couldn't walk upright, you know. I was like walking like a Cro-Magnon man, you know. And then I finally decided, okay, I can't sleep. I better go into the doctor. And so like 48 hours after the thing burst, I went to the doctor. So yeah, I'm aware of that tendency of me to kind of try to tough it out, and you don't get awards for doing that, right?
Precisely.
No, you don't.
Well, not only that, Rick. I'm sorry. Not only that.
Oh, go ahead.
You may not, and God bless you. I mean, I hope it all turns out okay for you. Every new day is just that, a new day, and you may not have the same luck or karma or whatever the hell this time around. The only major accident I was ever in was quite a while ago. It was around the time of the Gulf War, the run up to the Gulf War. I was headed someplace in San Diego in a Subaru that me and my wife had just taken. We had just actually paid the damn thing off and took off the extra insurance. I'm going legally through a major intersection in Kansas City. A guy in a stolen car being chased by police ran into the side of the fucking Subaru, spun it around a full 360, totaled the car. I was fine, okay, except like a year and a half earlier, I had surgery to remove a tumor from my brain, okay, my pituitary. And the doctor cautioned me not to even ride a roller coaster. Now, granted, you haven't had brain surgery, but we're a delicate mechanism. We're resilient, but we're delicate, and it's not a subjective ability to know what condition your condition is in. Now, I don't mean to preach at you, but take the wise counsel of your Horn family, man. Come on.
Well, they don't call it the ordinary, extraordinary roundtable for nothing, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, there you go.
People's wisdom.
Monique just sent me a message via Twitter. Preach, Bob, so true, and I say this as an RN. So the nurse is telling you. Meanwhile, Ron in Raleigh says, tell Rick to rub some dirt on it. Ron's a hard ass.
Hey, this is Chris. Yeah, Rick, I was in a head-on collision.
I got a question for Ron, though. Should it be dry dirt or should it be mud?
No, dirt. It's got to be dirt.
Okay.
Clay.
But hey, Rick, I was in a head-on collision, and the person that was driving us, we were out on the town, and it was like 3 a.m. and in Chicago, all of us were drunk except for the guy driving.
Oh, and good.
We were heading home, and we were driving just fine on a ramp going up to 55, and there was a guy who was completely wasted going the wrong way on the ramp coming down, smacked right into us. I saw the headlights straight on. I'm like, what the? And then that was it. Yeah. I was in the back seat, got tossed up in the air because I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, which is stupid. I never don't wear my seatbelt anymore, right?
Wow.
But
You got lucky.
So the guy, the four of us, we were checked out. We went to the hospital and everything, and the driver was supposedly fine. You know, he was actually my roommate at this boot camp we were at, this IT boot camp. And he was fine. And so we get home. He drives home. But then the next day, we wake up to go to class. He can't move. He got I don't know how they rate concussions, but like the worst one.
Oh, wow.
He was completely immobile.
It happens.
And he had no idea he had a concussion.
Right, and your fellow practitioner of the law, Steve from New York, says your fellow attorney says get thee to a hospital.
Okay.
All right, Rick, you got attorneys, you got RNs. I don't like to toot my own horn. I never do, but I'm an in-house insurance claim specialist. I'm telling you, get your ass to the hospital. What more do you need, bro?
I mean, true.
This is the whole horn, you know. We're on your side, man. You're a family. Yeah. Please.
Get your ass to the hospital.
Yeah.
I think based on the speed of the on the speed, my neck is starting to feel something. Maybe it's the way I'm sitting here. I don't know, but I'm not going to say anything.
It could be a vertebrae. It could be 1,000. You need to go to the hospital.
Okay.
And one more message. And you know, this shows this is a good indication of how much this community cares about each other. Darlene in Connecticut says, from the perspective of a woman, stop being a boneheaded man and get yourself looked at. I agree with Bob. You may be feeling a lot worse tomorrow. We care about you, so we're now your major PIAs, pains in the ass. And I think you told us about the accident for a reason.
That's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, you guys have convinced me. I'm going to get this car rented and then drive to the nearest hospital, okay?
Meanwhile, God, thanks for helping, James. James in Illinois says, just to be safe, run down to Skid Row and pay a junkie to beat you up, just in case. Yeah, that came in about a second and a half after I talked about how much the community cares about each other.
That was good. I like that, James. Thanks.
And if it turns out you are okay, I have another suggestion.
Yeah.
You probably even know about this place. So I got a call earlier today from Tracy.
Uh-huh.
And she asked me, how far are you from Charleston? And I said, about 50 miles. She said, well, I just tracked online. I sent you a package. And lo and behold, about 10 minutes after she said that, Agnes walks in the door with this big-ass cardboard box. And it's cold. Mm-hmm. And it's cold.
Oh, my God.
Are you familiar with a bakery in L.A. called Porto's?
Oh, best. That's the best. You guys are going to love it.
Oh, we're already.
You're in hog heaven.
We are already loving
heaven.
it. We are. It's apparently a Cuban-inspired bakery that's been around, founded by a Cuban family in L.A. in 1960. Mm-hmm. And Tracy sent two things. And you know, if it turns out, you know, you're okay, you're just stoved up, whatever, run on down to Porto's and treat yourself. I'm in heaven. I'm in hog heaven. You're absolutely right. Meat.
Heck, Rick, just skip the hospital and go to Porto's.
Yeah, meat pies. Meat pies, Rick. Cuban style meat pies with this flaky crust exterior. That just, I mean, there's got to be like 10,000 layers of this paper-thin pastry crust around this beautiful, seasoned, Caribbean-flavored beef.
Yeah, I'll put you guys on hold. They're finally helping me with the car, so I'll be back in in a little bit. Okay.
All right, Rick. We love you, bro. You take care, man.
Geez, Bob, the way you're describing that flaky crust and everything like that, I may run out front, steal a car, ram it into somebody, get all banged up, just so I can go to Porto's. Jeez,
just go down to Skid Row.
It sounds like a good shepherd's pie, man.
I mean, there's no peas or mashed potatoes or anything.
Yeah.
It's just this ground meat mixture with this extraordinary flavor.
Oh,
and
you're
she
killing me.
and Tracy sent dessert too.
Oh,
Wow.
come on, Tracy. I'll give you the.
Oh, wait for it. And here's the thing: they're all boxed up and they're sent to you frozen, so you bake them at home. So they were piping hot. And the dessert portion of the program is a pastry that is stuffed with a sweetened cream cheese filling and guava jelly.
Oh my God.
And I tied into that thing, and it's delicious, but it's got lava in the middle of it. My mouth is buzzing, but I can't stop.
It, Bob. Bob, just stop it.
I think I blistered the inside. I blistered my mouth, but I couldn't make myself not.
Poor pitiful you.
Yeah, I know. I can hear the brimming. I can hear the world's tiniest violins warming up.
Hey, Bob. My grandma was from Canada, and every holiday. Sorry, that's my dog making noise. She would make a meat pie for every holiday, Christmas or Thanksgiving, and it was just like that with the pastry crust. It was just like a pie, and inside was a meat. It was a meat pie, and it was spiced with. I can't even explain what the spice is. So this was more of a Caribbean style.
Yeah, it's like you can there's cumin and there's garlic and a little bit of some sort of spicy. Yeah, a little allspice I think in there. Right, exactly. And it's about the size of a biscuit.
Oh, okay. This is a big one. So what my grandma made was a big size, regular size pie. But it was a meat mixture inside, all kind of spiced with these French Canadian spice mixer. It was family favorite.
I'm beside myself. I was rendered speechless.
He was. It was funny to listen to.
Tracy heard me burn myself.
Oh no. Well, it was like, you eat pizza. You don't take the bite as soon as you get the pizza. You just don't do that. And you're a grown-ass man, Bob. You should know better. But
yeah,
again,
but that's when
I understand the inclination.
That's when the pizza is best.
Yeah, but then you have no tongue. You have little pieces of the roof of your mouth falling off because,
Yeah, that's a thing today. Yes, but it was worth it.
Be careful, Tracy. Bob might be filing papers against you for his roof of his mouth damage.
No, I don't think so. That's pure contributory negligence on my part.
Yeah, I had nothing to do with it. I didn't see. I think.
Is Tracy? I can't hear Tracy.
I had nothing. Can you hear me?
You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Breaking up. Yeah, I'm going to just listen because I'm in a weird spot, so I'll just listen. And when I'm somewhere where I'm sitting, I'll tune back in.
You sound like that digital robot, the robot.
Tracy must be between the 5 and 7/8 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, having mentioned the pastries, a quick message coming in from Brother Deacon Asa. Again, the milk of human kindness. Fuck off with your Cuban dessert, Bob. I'm on day 3 of a 7-day fast.
Ooh.
Hey, you know what, guys?
What?
I know the family of one of the owners of that Porto's. My son went to preschool with, I guess, one of the owner's daughters, and that was my son's first crush on a girl. she's just an adorable girl. She had like real, dark curly hair. She looked like she could have been Cuban, but very. And
she's the heir to a string of bakeries.
Yeah. Well, my son isn't so good at social interactions, so he never got beyond the part where maybe smiled at her, that kind of thing. That's about it.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. It's the way it is. One of these days, right?
By the way, Arnold sent me a message. I was in a wreck in 2005. I fractured 2 vertebrae. I waited 7 days to go to the ER. Worst decision ever.
Oh, okay. Boy. Okay. He thought he was okay. Again, you don't get trophies. You got one? Okay. I guess they finally do have my car, so I'll be right with you guys. Okay?
All right.
I'll mute here.
So
what a day. What a horrible day.
Yeah, no doubt.
Always something. Poor Rick, man. I hope it'll work out. He'll be fine.
And poor Rick's kid could have married into a chain of bakeries, prosperous, delicious, wonderful, well thought of bakeries. Jeez.
Cubano sandwiches, man, they are fantastic.
Well, Tracy tells me that they make a Cuban pork sandwich there that's to die for.
Ooh, man,
I think those are
good.
two of my favorite sandwiches on earth are the Cuban pork, and the other one is the classic Vietnamese banh mi.
Yes.
Or a shepherd's pie dynasty. That'd work too.
Here we go, Rick. Here's a number to Cedar Sinai: 310-423-3277. The meat wagon will come and take you to Porto's.
Don't even make sure it's chilly on the way there, right? Jesus.
Wait a minute. I think we've got a sound clip for that one.
You dick!
I was hoping for a cowbell.
Well, okay, you can have one of those too. There you go.
You don't want to ride in one of them ambulances.
No, not if you can help it. That doesn't matter.
I've got experience through my wife riding in like 5 times. If you ain't hurt, now you will be.
The bill you get is ridiculous. It was $2,000 or $3,000 for a 20-minute ride.
I don't know why.
I got Medicaid and a supplemental, so I didn't even.
What's up, Scott?
You mentioned shepherd's pie, and I don't know. This is how my mind works. Every now and again, you're walking down the potato chip aisle, and in a special display is the latest incarnation of a specially limited time only flavored Lay's potato chips.
And they still do it.
Yeah.
Peanut butter and butter jelly potato chips.
Chicken and waffles potato chips. When are they going to come out with shepherd's pie potato chips? Hell, they already got the potato. That's a principal ingredient in shepherd's pie is potatoes.
Just a neat design and have zombie flavored powder.
We never have any of that kind of stuff.
Oh God, the combinations are crazy.
Oh, the one that really just, it was funny around here. I even talked about it. I had to look for a couple of weeks to finally get a bag of the biscuits and sausage gravy potato chips.
Oh yeah,
because they sold in a hurry here. What? It's a potato chip, but it's biscuits and sausage gravy. Fuck, I'm buying them all. But the one that just didn't work for me was the Greektown Euro potato chips because I opened it up and it smelled like Greektown garbage strike.
Oh,
they had a Southern biscuit and gravy chip
that's the one I'm talking about. I mean, I couldn't
like that. Oh,
I just wanted to try them, and I couldn't get them for like a month because the minute they came in, all the hillbillies were like, "Fuck," and bought them up.
You didn't miss anything, man.
Well, I eventually got to try them, and it was no big deal. But that's the way I feel about most of the flavored potato chips.
Speaking of strikes, did you hear about the kids' strike today? The one in West Virginia was pitiful.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know why, right? Because those kids will be attacked and have the shit beaten out of them in school by their own peers for, you don't love coal. You believe in global warming. You believe in global warming, not Jesus. It's necessary. We're gonna have to kick your ass. That's what it's. I mean, I predicted that a week ago. That they would be denounced by by maybe even the governor. How dare those little heathens with their climate change and their no.
Well, so do you think in maggot country all over the country that there was low turnout for that in schools in general?
There was big turnout in San Francisco.
Well, no, I'm saying in maggot country.
Oh.
Kansas, Nebraska, Mississippi, blah, blah, blah.
You'd have to look at one of their organizing maps that they always post online where the events are happening. Because those kids are pretty interconnected with the social media.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not criticizing them. It took, it takes courage to do something like that in this state.
And you know the Swedish gal, I can't remember her name, but she's been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh, that's great.
She'll get a Peace Prize before dumb.
Oh, dumb fuck. Yeah, he's dying for one of those, you know? He's dying for one.
Yeah, he's got to beat Obama. He's going to be better than him.
Maybe some confectionery company should make him up about the size of a dinner plate, or a small dinner plate. One of those gold foil covered chocolate Nobel Prizes.
Well, Easter's coming. Yeah, you should be able to get one.
Yeah, and he can bite the ears off of it or something.
How come the Frank hasn't made anything? Maybe they have, but I didn't know.
What was that whole thing about Avi? He forged Avi's signature to get the nomination? Is that what happened? Did anybody hear about that?
No. Explain.
Oh, I heard a report that he was nominated for the Nobel Prize by Abe from Japan.
Oh, no, yeah. Yeah. It turned out that the White House asked Shinzo Abe to do that.
Oh, okay. I heard it was forged, but maybe I heard wrong.
No, the Japanese government said they asked us to, and we did as a courtesy.
Oh, they actually did. Really?
Yeah.
I remember the first visit when Abe was rolling his eyes next to dear leader, dear orange guy. Right? Do you remember that video?
Oh, yeah.
So why... that makes no sense. I don't think Abe has any respect for orange guy.
Well, they're
Who the hell does?
Not I, sir. What was that, Bob?
The only thing they share in common is they both like to golf.
Right.
And now everybody knows he's a clown. Everybody knows he's a fake and a fraud. Everybody, and I suspect that the Prime Minister of New Zealand knows that, he inspired that guy.
Oh, there's no question. This is a Trumpist. This is a maggot. This is maggots exported worldwide. And Bob, you've talked about this many, many times on your shows. We've been exporting this shit. It's been an export-import, right? From slavery. This is hundreds of years in the making. This is an export-import hate industry.
Well, right.
If it's part of American culture, we export it.
Good, bad, or indifferent. And in this case, it's bad.
Hey, not to change the subject, but you know how bad Rick's luck is? His accident was within a mile of the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. Shit.
Oh, don't go there.
It would have been bad. Yeah.
Ooh, just ick. Yeah. Yeah.
He would have come out with
catch Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, so we're halfway through the program, and I didn't want to talk about it much while we were talking about the massacre, but we came into the evening, just so folks know, with $440 to do in fundraising, and we're still at $440. So that means come Monday we'll be looking at $640. If we could take that down even by the $240, so that we've only got today to do Monday, that would be awesome. Because there's always bills to pay. And so, 44 people at $10 a piece would solve the problem. or 10 people at $44, whatever. But we started at $4.40, and an hour and a half into the program, we're still at $4.40. So there's that. Okay. I had a note from Ron in Raleigh, the same note where he told Rick to rub some dirt on it. Subject line, pity. As you know, white people are completely blameless. They've suffered under the predations of us brown and black people throughout history. We've roamed about the world, colonizing, enslaving, and murdering poor white folks, stealing their natural resources. Wonder what would happen if all the mud people stayed at home. Would that change the population dynamic in Europe, the U.S., and other white countries? Yeah, well put. Dave from Taliban, Indiana, with a note, too. I fully support New Zealand restricting guns. They're simply using a rational, effective way to deal with tragedy to try and help prevent it. Here's an interesting exercise I've been doing for the last few weeks when it comes to guns. Replace the word slaves, and you're getting the same old tired Confederate arguments. Weeping softly in the blind, your buddy, Dave. Wow, that's, yeah.
Hey, Bob, can I explain something about Skype real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
To everybody, I cannot see contact requests anymore. You have to use the link, and I make the link about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I send it to Asa. He posts it at the website. I send it to you. You put it on Twitter, and I put it on the Horn Facebook page. So that's where you have to go if you want to get into the conversation.
Yeah, there's no way to right, and there's no way to bring a landline call into the group either.
Well, I thought you did last week.
Well, no, I mean I can bring a landline call in on the stress line, but not actually into the Skype group.
Right.
So the stress line is open if somebody has to use a phone to get in, 844-843-4676. So that'll, if and it should be up and running, and the Bluetooth should be connected, and all those happy little fun things. Let me double check here. Yep, Bluetooth is connected. We're ready to rock if somebody wants to come in that way.
So, Scott, are you there?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's okay, and I didn't mean to bother you, sir. But do you have any?
I was fumbling for my mute switch.
That's cool. Any movie recommendations?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Steve. Have you been listening this week? Because I had a slew of them.
No, I'm adjusting to a new medication, and I've been just all over the map,
You got any extra? That sounds good.
We'll talk later.
All right. Yeah, have your guy call my guy, and maybe they'll have lunch or get wrecked. Okay, let's see. No, last night I'm flipping through the old Amazon Prime machine, and there was where the hell is it? I watched the first episode. I had seen it. It was on PBS. It's a documentary series about the Constitution. It's this bald-headed dude riding a Harley, red, white, and blue, like out of Easy Rider, Harley, around the country talking to people about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And I can't think of the name of it. Peter somebody or other. Jesus. I'm glad my mind is staying just as sharp as a steel trap at my advanced age. Is this how it starts? Any of our older people, is this how it begins? The slow decline?
Actually, Scott, sounds like you're towards the end of it all.
Oh, great.
What are you talking about, Scott?
No. The fact that as you get older, they say that you start to lose it. And I'm wondering if today is the day.
The Nescafe.
No, don't start with my coffee. Come on here. But anyway, it's if you can find it. I guess if you Google Peter Segal, S-E-G-A-L, I think it is, motorcycle, PBS, Constitution, you ought to be able to find it. But I was going to ask Bob if he's seen it. It was from the late like 2009 or something.
I haven't.
2010.
I don't think I have. I don't recall it.
Yeah, it's like a 6 or 8 part docu-series about the Constitution, and he talks to all kinds of people. Because on the episode I saw last night, he's in Montana talking to a guy who has created a single-shot bolt-action rifle that he intends to sell, make them and sell them only in Montana. And the intent is for kids to let them have their first taste of what shooting is like, because where are all the young gun nuts of the future going to come from? And it's also as a test challenge against the Commerce Clause. If he's making and selling a gun only in Montana, how can the Commerce Clause or the federal regulation have any bearing on what he does?
Well, but see, in the modern world in which we live, the possibilities let's say you're using a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't make the plastic resin powder in Montana.
Right.
And thus it was in interstate commerce. And so that gun will have a nexus with interstate commerce.
Okay, well, this is old school. This is like wood stock, forged steel barrels.
Yeah. So
blah,
did he
blah,
dig
blah.
So did he? I didn't know there were iron ore mines in Montana. Maybe there are.
Okay, I see where you're going.
I found it, Scott. I went ahead and posted some links.
What's the actual title, Steve?
Constitution USA with Peter Segal.
Well, yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
It's a PBS production.
Yeah.
So you should be able to watch it on PBS for free through their app.
And see, the Supreme Court, for a long time, the Supreme Court would go to great lengths to show that something was in interstate commerce. Let's say the tree that he made the stock out of was grown in Montana. Well, if somebody poured Miracle Grow that was made in Illinois on the tree in Montana, it was in interstate commerce.
Yeah.
By the way, the peyote case, Bob, that's all about interstate commerce, if I remember right. That was the justification.
They're shooting peyote out of guns?
Well, no.
What the hell?
The peyote case is the one Scalia, I think it was his case, and he wrote that because the indigenous population, who I can't remember which tribe uses the peyote.
Where does the line form?
Huh? Where's the line? Well, they were trying to get, it was an expression of religion, right? Freedom of religion. And but I think the justification for keeping it illegal was one around the interstate commerce clause, where even though they weren't selling it to anybody, they were still engaging in interstate commerce because they were growing this stuff, and there was automatically a market for something just because you grow it.
You used to be able to buy peyote buttons from botanical supply places.
I remember you could buy opiate lettuce at the head shops too. You used to be able to buy a lot of things.
Opiate lettuce?
Yep.
What the hell is that?
Put your mind to work.
You make a Caesar salad and with opiate lettuce.
Yep.
Opiate lettuce, you make a Caesar salad and Caesar.
Either Caesar, Julius Caesar, or Caesar from Planet of the Apes. One of the two.
Caesar? No, I missed her. Never mind.
Scott, stop.
Brandy? No.
But Bob, does that make sense? What I was talking about with the peyote case?
Yeah.
You're from.
Remember the whole persecution of indigenous people for using peyote. That's one of the classic cases in modern history of the law of unintended consequences. The religious, what was it called? The Religious Freedom Restoration Act, RFRA.
Yeah.
That was passed by Congress in the 90s. Was done it was passed to make it possible for religions that were not deemed to be mainstream to not be persecuted for their beliefs. And then the evangelical religion industry got hold of it, and the next thing you know, we've got Hobby Lobby.
Oh shit! So to protect Wiccans and indigenous cultures and religion, now it boomeranged back, and we got Hobby Lobby and all this other crap, and the cake, the baker in Colorado case and all that crap, right?
Precisely.
Motherfuckers. I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
And
Steve, I got a couple of viewing things for you as well. On Netflix, a movie that has no white people in it at all, so it's not a white savior movie.
Unsullied.
Cool.
It's called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. It's about this young African young man. I think I forget what country they were in. I think maybe not. And
Malawi.
His village was dying, and he figured out a way to harness the wind for water so they could plant. And he did this just from reading books, and without a formal education, because they had to, schools there in the village, you had to pay to go to school. His family didn't have the money. But it's Chiwetel Ejiofor. He wrote. I don't know if he wrote the movie, but he definitely directed and stars in it. And it's just amazing, just inspiring. Wonderful movie. And then
all right, I got it. It's in my watch list. Cool. Keep them coming.
And another, like I was telling Bob about, on the other end of the spectrum, where there are white people, and unfortunately, black people are dying at the hands of white people. It's called, and shockingly, from BET, which is a station that I would never equate with quality television.
We're losing her again.
Yeah. Make a step to the left.
What is wrong? Oh, this stupid phone. Maybe I'll just have to call it on the stress line.
No, I think you're okay now.
Okay. So this was called Fighting Justice, and it's a 6-part docuseries on BET about basically black people fighting justice in this country. Good luck with that shit. So the first episode was about yet another Stand Your Ground murder. Like I was asking Bob, had he even heard of it? I hadn't heard of this brother. This just happened in July of last year, and guess where? Florida.
Florida? It was in Florida?
Yeah, it was in Florida, of course, Clearwater, Florida. This brother was basically defending his family against this crazy white man who decided that he was going to be the parking lot police because they had the nerve to park in a handicap space.
Oh, that was I saw that. That's crazy. Florida's crazy.
Right.
Crazy.
So that was the first episode, and the subsequent episodes are about.
Okay, what's the name of it?
Finding Justice is on BET. I'm pretty sure you can
Gotcha.
get them on demand. So you got Cash Bail in Missouri.
Perfect.
We got the preschool to prison pipeline in LA. We got the voter suppression, and guess who? They are actually interviewing Stacey Abrams about voter suppression.
Nice, man. Nice.
And then lead poisoning. I forget which city that's there's lead poisoning.
Flint.
And you know what? I don't think it's Flint. I don't think it's Flint.
Probably D.C.
It might be. I'm not sure.
Chicago, I know has a problem.
I'll be in D.C. like I've said before, the first 11 days of April, and I guarantee you, when I walk through the halls of the House office buildings, all the water fountains will still be turned off and covered up, and they'll have jugged, the 5-gallon bottles of water in the water coolers with the little cups and everything, because Congress will not drink the water that the rest of D.C. drinks because it's full of fucking lead.
They won't have the same health care the rest of the country has either.
Well, Bob, that explains the pronouncements of Louis Gohmert.
Yeah, he's still drinking the water.
Jesus.
I got one more movie. But you gotta pay to see it. It was severely underrated and they did not promote it.
Oops.
Like,
You're fading out, Tracy.
There were women of color was heading the cast. Widows with my girl Viola Davis. That movie was amazing, but it got hardly any play. It was in the movie theaters for maybe a couple of weeks, and then it was gone.
Yeah, which is not the same thing as the Amazon Prime series with Kate Beckinsale, The Widow.
Right? No.
Oh,
right, no.
I've got another one.
This is Widows. What?
I got another one. I had DVR'd it from HBO a couple of months ago, a dramatic film, a romantic comedy, which I'm not a big fan of. A romantic comedy called About Time.
I'm just like About Time.
But it's not on HBO anymore, and it's not on Netflix. But you can get it on Amazon for like $3.99 or $2.99. It may be my new favorite movie, along the lines. It's all British. I didn't recognize any of the names, but it's a charming, wonderful, lovely little film.
Is it historical?
No, it's the premise is this. In a nutshell, a young man discovers that he can travel in time, and he uses the ability to reconnect with his first love or his true love.
Oh.
But I'm telling you,
I was going to watch it, and now it's not on Netflix anymore, motherfuckers.
No, it's not on Netflix, but you can get it on Amazon Prime for a couple of bucks.
Okay.
It's a lovely film. I cried. That'll give you an idea. And it is, to me, and this is a movie that hardly anybody has seen, from 1965, 1,000 Clowns, Jason Robards, Barbara Harris, William Daniel, what's his name? He plays his brother-in-law. He was on Archie Bunker's Place. Bald-headed, Martin Balsam, the young Barry Gordon. 1,000 Clowns was my all-time favorite movie, and still is for many, many years. About Time may knock it, or at least tie it in the number one spot. That's how good it was.
Well, how long was it under Archie Bunker's? I was thinking about that the other day. Archie Bunker's Place. How long was that on, that spinoff?
A couple of seasons.
It wasn't very good, was it?
When they wrote Edith Bunker out of the show and the kids moved on, Gloria and Mike, there wasn't much you could hang the series on. So they had to, Archie buys a bar and hilarity ensues, and it didn't,
but it kind of didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Hilarity tried and failed. Yeah.
Speaking of old school movies, they're on Amazon Prime, and this is right up. It's an amazing movie, and it is so relevant to today with the religion and politics factor in this country. Elmer fucking Gantry. Holy shit!
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen that movie in years, and I was watching it like, well, I'll be goddamn.
Steinbeck.
No, that's Steinbeck.
I've never seen a film with Burt Lancaster where Lancaster wasn't just awesome.
No, I don't think there's such a thing.
Hey, Scott.
I brought this movie up before, and Steve, I don't know if you've watched it yet, but Jesus Can't. I think.
That's a horror movie.
Yeah,
it is.
No shit.
Exactly.
It scared the living
Jesus
crap.
Can't.
Jesus
What is that
can't.
about?
And I
Oh,
think
Jesus
Pepper
can't.
Pogo.
Oh yeah, that I never saw it because I heard about it and just the premise of it freaked me the fuck out.
You'll have nightmares.
It's a scary fucking movie.
Hey,
Yeah, because
John.
it's so possible.
Yes. It's not only possible, it is.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's happened.
it is.
Exactly.
It's happening. Yeah.
Hey, Brother John.
Exactly. Hello, Bob. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing well, fine as frogs here, I think.
Well, good.
Yeah, it's gonna get a little bit cool again. So probably won't be doing any more naked radio for a few more days.
Gotta put the pants
Bob.
back on.
Tell John about what I sent you.
Oh, John.
What did you get, Bob?
Oh,
Bob,
what
did you get?
I got something in the mail today.
Holy shit! What was it? Come on, make me jealous.
Yeah, from a Cuban bakery founded in 1960 in L.A. called Porto's.
Hey.
Tracy sent me 2 boxes of Cuban meat pies and 1 box of dessert pastries with sweetened cream cheese and guava jelly filling.
Oh, kiss my ass! Are you shitting me?
Oh, my!
Wait a minute, Bob. They sent you 2 boxes of the meat pie?
Yeah.
You sent you 2 boxes, Bob. I think one of them boxes was supposed to come to me, buddy.
They gave you an extra box, I believe, because they messed up the order, so you got an extra box, dude.
See, that's
winning.
The one that was supposed to come to me,
So
right?
much
Tracy?
winning.
Which one's messed up and which one's a good one?
You know what? I think that may be something that only matters to Porto's, because as far as I can tell, they're both freaking fabulous.
Well, let's face it. You know, you can't mess up a good Cuban beef pie. I don't care who you are.
I mean, never mind the fact
John,
that I'm from Cuba.
It's about the size of a biscuit, but
yeah.
It's got like 10,000 layers of flaky pastry dough, and this ground meat mixture with the allspice and some chili pepper and some, garlic and onion flavor and
to die for, huh?
Yeah,
that's good stuff. I love it when you get that flavor that it jumps out at you. It says, "Hey, how you doing? Taste this."
Hey, baby.
That's good, Bob.
Oh,
I
burnt my mouth right up getting after one of those things, because I mean it was hot, fresh out of the oven, and oh god, it was good.
Food porn, I love it, baby.
Bob, I can't wait to
Food
see
porn.
you. I can't wait to see your cook-off with Sohan's recipe. I can't wait to see that.
Yes.
I was thinking about that. I'm guessing now that the weather's working out the way it is, I'm guessing that'll happen after I get back from D.C.
There you go. When is it, Bob?
Well, I'm gone to D.C. the first 11 days of April, and if we can get this equipment fundraiser moving, I'll be able to get a gizmo so that I don't know. I don't know that I'll be able to broadcast every day, but I'll be able to broadcast some days.
And that's why your donations out there are so important, baby.
Yes,
that's
indeed.
it. Got to plug it when you can. That's
and
why.
thanks to James. James jumped in and got us started. We're down to 4:30 to go to finish the week, which is awesome.
There you go.
I'm sure James in Illinois would love to have some company.
And where's the equipment fundraiser at, Bob?
There's a link to it on the main page at headon.live.
Okay.
Or you can just use the regular PayPal donate thing and just designate, for the equipment fundraiser.
Bob, what do you need? What do you need more in need of? The month-to-month expenses or the equipment upgrade?
Well, I
Both.
I know that's a tough question, but
we got to pay the bills.
You got to pay the bills.
All right.
But you also have to.
I hear you. Okay, that's all I need to do.
Hey,
Thanks.
And Bob, I looked up the website that had the gizmo. That's a nice little rig.
It is, but I don't think I can get it anymore. So I'm going to go with something that another member of the community suggested, and Asa had seen it as well. And I even talked to John Fox down in Australia about it, and he said it's an awesome little unit. And there's some things that the one I wanted does that this one doesn't, and some things that this one does that it didn't. For instance,
are you saying that the Allen Heath XB10 is not available anymore?
Apparently they don't even make it. I mean, you can't buy it anywhere.
I would go to the main website and look
I did.
a local distributor, and they don't.
Nuh-uh.
That's amazing, because it's on. Normally they upgrade their websites, because that was a nice looking rig.
Well, this thing, if you want to,
see the pictures of that one John got?
I don't think so.
The mixer we got.
What'd you get, John?
We got it's a. Well, let me look over here at the side of it. An
Alesis.
Alesis. I'm sorry, Alesis, and it's a 12-channel mixer. Travis has me hooked up. I don't know anything about it. Travis is my producer, buddy. I just talk. As a matter of fact, I had him in here just a minute ago.
No, John. Hey, John. No. You're the talent.
I'm the talent. That's right. Bob, I'm sorry. I'm the talent. But he had to come in here just a minute ago, and I told him, because I just did a live shot right before I came on your show because my day was running late. So I didn't do my rant today. So I went ahead and did a live shot. Not a happy one. It's, today's news was not great. And
yeah, it made for a difficult beginning for what is ordinarily a lighthearted affair over here.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I spoke and told everybody I was going to come over to your show, and we was going to try to lighten the mood a little bit if we could, but I'm sure that we would have discussions about it and all that shit. I just couldn't go to the angry spot tonight because it runs deep. And my day was full.
and the I think what really messed with me was the inevitability, the sense of inevitability.
Yeah.
Because these are not accidents.
No, this is number 6.
These are things. These are things that are being deliberately ginned up. I mean,
today.
Before you got into the conversation, I was reading from this sick freak 74-page manifesto.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And he uses the exact same words that Donald Trump uses. Donald Trump is a threat. Donald Trump is a threat to the peace and dignity, such as we have, of the entire planet.
Yes, I believe that, and he demonstrated that Wednesday when he had that little interview there with Breitbart.
And he's culpable for what happened today.
Right after this thing.
He's culpable for what happened today. He is culpable.
And in his speech
That's
today,
the most
in his
peaceful
little paper,
nation on the planet until they got a hold of some nutcase from Australia that infiltrated. He's got blood on his hands, man. And the quicker we can get him out of there, the better. And I'm not afraid to say it. And I don't mean in a violent way, in a non-violent way, whatever.
Constitutionally and legally, Steve. That's the phrase. Constitutionally and legally.
Well, thanks, Bob.
And here's my question about this guy from Australia, apparently, who goes to New Zealand. Now, it wasn't all that long ago where Australia had a mass shooting, and they were bright enough to do something about it in terms of
this is New Zealand's Port Arthur massacre.
Yeah.
And she's already the prime minister over there has already said they're going to change the gun laws. Bet your ass they are.
Good.
Yeah.
We won't. No.
Oh,
well, not only will we not. First of all, this came in from Robert in Australia. Subject line: Gun laws in New Zealand to change. Prime Minister Ardern said the suspected primary shooter used 5 guns, including semi-automatic weapons and shotguns, adding that he obtained a gun license in November 2017 and acquired the guns legally thereafter. He was, in other words, a lawful gun owner. That'll give you an indication of why we need to change. That'll give you an indication of why we.
Or in Australia, Bob.
Hold on. That'll give you an indication of why we need to change our gun laws, she said. The minimum legal age to own a gun in New Zealand is 16 or 18 for military-style semi-automatic weapons. Gun owners are required to have a license, but according to the BBC, most weapons don't have to be registered, and license holders can purchase as many weapons as they want.
Mm-hmm.
See, the problem with that, Bob,
right?
That's it's the mentality of that kind of shit. They can own as many guns as they want. And that's what they say in this country. And we're no different. Go out and buy you a bunch of them. Stock up. As a matter of fact, the last election, there was some idiot, can't remember his name now. He was running for Congress. The wrong Republican got it, but this other guy was sitting up there actually in the debate telling people in Texas to buy as many guns as they can and stock up on ammunition. That was in a public debate.
Yeah.
About
well,
guns.
and I got a story here, John. I subheaded it West Virginia and Texas getting some relief because this story actually comes out of Missouri. There's a guy who represents the boot heel of Missouri in the Missouri legislature,
right,
named Andrew McDaniel. He's introduced House Bill 1108, the McDaniel Militia Act.
Oh, shit.
Oh, really?
I can see where this is going, baby.
It requires every resident of the state of Missouri over 18 to own an AR-15.
Now, wait a minute. Does this include the brothers on the east side of Kansas City?
Apparently so.
Oh, boy.
East St. Louis is in Illinois, so that wouldn't be covered.
No, I'm talking the east side
Not
of Kansas
a gun,
City.
an AR-15.
East of Troost Avenue.
And therein lies the exposure of the sickness that has taken over the gun.
And under the bill, Missouri residents would be eligible for a tax credit equal to 75% of the cost of their AR-15.
Kiss my ass.
Federal or state?
Not on the right, not on the left, right in the groove. Kiss my ass.
Bingo.
You know, that's bullshit. That is bullshit. That's the same kind of shit that Trump was in there when he was talking to Breitbart when he says his military, this is my military. I have a very, they love me. My police. He used those words. He thinks that that's the case. And how could some of us not believe that when down here in Texas they had pictures going around of I don't know what cop shop that was, where the police were standing all around the table there. Here's some contraband we got. And 3 of the guys in the picture are flashing that white power bullshit finger sign intentionally.
So
shit,
my
sorry, Bob.
question, are there going to be gun deserts like in Ferguson? I mean, what are they going to do? Is this for all Missouri residents, or is this just...
No, it's just for the gun nut wackos that want an excuse to do
it. The folks with the lack of melanin, right?
Yeah,
that's what they want.
I mean, and John, you referenced that Breitbart interview. Jesus Christ, the quotes. The left. He wants to be a mob boss so bad.
So bad.
The left plays a tougher game. It's very funny. I actually think that the people on the right are tougher, but they don't play it tougher. Okay? I can tell you I have the support of the police, the support of the military, the support of the bikers for Trump. I have the tough people, but they don't play it tough until they go to a certain point, and then it would be very bad, very bad.
What point was he talking
dog whistle.
about?
That's classic dog.
That's it, baby. That's it. He's letting them know he is talking to his minions. That's who he only talks to. He does not.
He
talk
is
to this
telling
country.
them to be prepared to go out and
baby.
kill for him.
That's it. Be more precise, Bob. Go out and kill your fellow Americans for his ass. That's what he's asking them to do.
This is what Michael Cohen talked about at his hearing.
Excuse me, baby. I called it out today. He talks in code. I mentioned it on my show today. That's what Michael Cohen said. He talks in code. You damn right he does. And he did it again today. When he was signing that stupid freaking bill, the veto, he's over there talking about the invasion. He used that word again. Invasion.
Yep. The same word used by the killer in New Zealand.
That's right. Same words coming out of the mouth. The invasion of immigrants. And that's what Donnie has done ever since he started this shit, before he even came down that damn elevator. He stokes hatred and racism. He loves it. It benefits him in all the tile. His lying sack of shit. Everything from Sarah shit shining Sanders to whoever the recent chief of staff or anything else, or Mitch McConnell and the rest of them. They throw his ass in cover.
It's the only thing keeping him alive. Hatred, fear, and racism. And
that's what it is.
Keeping him alive.
It's the only thing he's got to sell. He does not have a vision for this country or anybody in it except for those that pay him. That's
Uncle John, I have a question for you, brother.
Okay.
How do you think that the label is bogus. Bikers are going to feel about being labeled bikers for Trump, because I am sure I know a lot of bikers, and most of them are good people. I'm sure they're not going to dig this label that he has, stuck on them.
No doubt there. He's got a big following of bikers for Trump. And I guess those are the assholes of society. I don't know who
they're probably all 60, 70-year-old fuckers that are too old to fight. They're scared pussies,
or some shit. Stand up. They try to sell that same shit. I'm a patriot. No, you're not. You're a disgusting turd. Get the fuck out of here. But
don't hold back, John.
Know a guy who's got his little sign on his bike, Bikers for Trump. It's a little scooter is what it is. He's 100 years old. Are you shitting me? It's Bikers for Trump. Kiss off. Go back with the cockroaches. That's all you are. Do not call you.
But how do you think the hardcore apolitical biker is going to feel about this kind of label? That remains to be seen,
Well, it's got to be biker wannabes, because didn't a group of the bikers show up against Fred Phelps and his people?
Well, I call them yikers. It's a cross between yuppies and bikers. I call them yikers. So.
Got Leo Sahaki, that guy that does biker wisdom. That's what he does, biker wisdom.
Can I throw this question out there? Is the Green New Deal a threat to biker nation or biker culture? I'm just going to throw it out there.
Not in light of the fact that they're already well down the road in development of electric bikes. I don't see how.
I've heard some of the electric bikes are killer.
Well, they are in more ways than one. They're silent, so nobody knows. That's one of the objections that you'll see a Harley rider with a sticker on his helmet that says "Loud pipes save lives."
You don't
how hard would it be?
Them Bikers for Trump don't want a quiet bike, baby. They want.
They want to be noticed. They want to be noticed. And there's an episode on South Park.
Well, see, I can go back to.
I could afford one. I'd have one.
We had an anti-mountaintop removal rally one time down in the Coal River Valley, and the coal industry sent out a blast for everybody who owned a Harley to come to our rally and gun their engines so no one could hear our message. I kid you not.
Yeah. I think at one point somebody was talking about they wanted to trademark that sound.
Well, and when you record the sound of those big bikes rumbling and play it backwards at a different speed, you hear, "I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole." No, I've done it.
Using the bike is just a badass look at me kind of thing. It's not the appreciate the bike. They want the bad boy image of what the bike brings.
I hate to paint everybody with such a broad brush.
That's what I'm saying. You can't, because I
hate
love
to do that. Yeah.
If I had the money, I'd have me a nice ride, because I would love.
And I could see you on a bike too, Uncle
could.
John. I mean, that would be you.
I got an RV. I had to take my kids with me. Can't put them all on a bike, buddy.
Well, John, your beard is long enough now where you could hang
some biker, like some ass.
You could hang an advertising banner onto the end of your beard and trail it behind you as you putt down the road, to generate a little extra income.
I guess to wrap this up in a nutshell, I can't see Peter Fonda or even Dennis Hopper with a MAGA hat on, even though Dennis Hopper turned out to be a right-wing tool. But he was never that tool of a tool,
He's trying to portray two people that were out on a bike who actually had this love thing in their heart, just enjoy life and love people. And they got shot.
I can't envision that. I just can't.
Nope, Dennis Hopper.
Well,
and that movie was pathetic.
Just like I said, the asshole that did this shooting in New Zealand.
The music was incredible.
Taught him that shit. His father taught him that shit, and it's the same bullshit that Donnie's got in his blood. He learned it from his father, and we all know that, and we only assume, and it's justifiable that he passed it on to Donnie Jr. and Ivanka and the other little cockroach.
Maybe not Tiffany. Maybe
it's
Tiffany
that. You're never going to get rid of it as long as we have cockroaches like that in our society. And
Bob,
we can't get rid of them.
If you can get it and play it today, find on YouTube the Jack Nicholson campfire scene in Easy Rider.
Oh, I love that scene.
That movie was prophetic. Jack Nicholson at the campfire is speaking of today. See if you can find that, because it's.
I have the whole album right here on me, on my iPad.
UFOs and all that is a classic scene.
People are always talking movies. The two movies that impacted my life right before I went in the military was
and then they were
Easy
smoking
Rider.
pot.
The minutiae, that's it, Duncan.
But the essence of it is where he talks about, it's what you represent to them. Jack Nicholson speaking to Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda. Oh, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's some of the most classic 5 minutes of filmmaking ever.
And I just happen to have it.
I'm a big fan of that movie, and I swear every time I even hear the radio, if I hear either The Pusher or Born to Be Wild separately, away from it's almost sacrilegious. I should hear The Pusher, and then I should hear some badass bikes fading off into the ground, and then hitting right into it.
The Pusher was wrote by Hoyt Axton. Not very many people know that.
Oh, he was amazing. And I've got the clip, so stand by.
Oh, that's awesome, Bob. Oh, there it is. There it is.
You know, this used to be a hell of a good country. I can't understand what's going wrong with it.
Man, everybody got chicken, that's what happened. Hey, we can't even get into, like, a second-rate hotel. I mean, a second-rate motel, you dig? They think we're gonna cut their throat or something, man. Like, they're scared, man.
Oh, they're not scared of you.
They're not scared.
They're scared of what
you're scared of what you represent.
Hey, man. All we represent to them, man, is somebody who needs a haircut.
Somebody needs a haircut.
What you represent to them is freedom.
What the hell's wrong with freedom, man? That's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what it's all about, all right. But talking about it and being it, that's two different things. I mean, it's real hard to be free when you are bought and sold in the marketplace. Of course, don't ever tell anybody that they're not free, because then they're going to get real busy killing and maiming to prove to you that they are. Oh, yeah, they're going to talk to you and talk to you and talk to you about individual freedom. But they see a free individual, it's going to scare them.
I'm going to scare them.
No, well, don't make them running scared.
No, it makes them dangerous.
It makes them dangerous.
Indian.
Swamp.
You're right,
yeah. Swamp.
Swamp.
Swamp. Swamp.
Swamp.
You ever talk to bullfrogs in the middle of the night?
Not generally.
You don't?
No, man.
You know what I used to do?
What do you used to do?
Well, I'll tell you one thing I didn't used to do is talk to bullfrogs in the middle of the night, foolish.
Out of your mind.
That's right.
Camping out.
Words of wisdom, Bob.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds like they were spoken yesterday, huh?
Oh, my God. What a great film it is. That's horrible. That is a very difficult scene to watch.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Mm.
Yeah.
No,
And by the
that is
way,
very potent, man.
By the way, just because it's Friday and, well, somebody, we've had a Jesse Lee Peterson sighting.
Oh shit!
Are you fucking kidding me with that?
Nope.
We're gonna make Tracy's weekend.
Yeah, Jesse Lee just had to unburden himself of. He just had to unburden himself this morning of his feelings about the massacre in New Zealand. We know what we've said about it.
No.
We know what we've said about it. We've got a pretty clear understanding. But how about Jesse Lee? How about the right wing in this country? Yeah. Get the hockey pucks.
Yeah, fuck.
There was what has been called a terrorist attack in New Zealand yesterday. I guess it would be last night our time or yesterday their time. And I'm very concerned about this. And it's being reported that a white guy was one of the people who carried this out. And my concern is that if white people get angry, rather than speaking up prior to anger, before getting angry, that if they get angry, this is what's going to happen. I don't know, when they say it's white supremacy or something like that, over there I don't know what it means, but I know over here in this country, the Antifa people are protected, and they are more violent and
you get now. This is a guy, just for the sake of context. This is a guy who has said there is no such thing as white supremacy.
Wow.
White supremacists don't really exist.
Oh, my head.
That's why he needed slapping law.
I'm so glad that I'm late.
Tracy, you better not be driving, please.
No, I'm not driving. As a matter of fact, I'm chilling. Will has a hockey game tonight, so I'm still chilling in the parking lot because black people aren't allowed in the ice skating rink when they're playing hockey. Just kidding.
You're not allowed in the parking lot either, right?
No, I'm the driver, so it's okay.
Oh, okay.
All Jesse Lee is doing is trying to give an excuse to people to
right.
To
so
wait a minute.
So
how much stock can you put in the ravings of Jesse Lee Peterson when he doesn't even know the international date line? And from our point of view,
you noticed
the
that,
event
did you?
Occurred tomorrow in New Zealand. What this guy?
And again, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. These people, they're not interested in education or how much they just want to spread that shit.
So
and that's all this guy does is give that cover. So assholes can say, "Oh, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm just a good old American patriotic."
Right. So, but what I find interesting is that you mentioned white supremacy to Jesse Lee. And Jesse Lee immediately starts thinking about Antifa.
The Antifa people are protected, and they are more violent and terrorists than the normal whites. But the normal whites are called white supremacy, while the radical Antifa whites are being protected by the children of the lie in this country. My thing is, you got to start standing up.
Muslims, by the way, that's what after with 49 dead New Zealanders, 42 maimed, one of them a 4-year-old in critical condition, and Jesse Lee Peterson just called them the children of the lie.
Oh my God!
Jesse Lee Peterson is what back in the day some used to refer to as a jive motherfucker. This guy. I mean, I feel bad for him with his speech difficulties, but he could have corrective surgery, take elocution lessons, But as long as he's still
stop drinking Jack,
if he's still saying
too.
stupid, it doesn't matter how clearly it comes out.
That's right.
Jesus.
Well,
Sorry, I'm.
That's okay. It's a Ginsu commercial. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Before you get too angry and out of control in this country, folks. And in this country, the Muslims are treated better than the Christians and white people in America. And we just saw where they allowed 2 Muslims to become congressmen in our government, and that's not good. And those 2 women hate Israel and they hate America.
Yep.
There you go, babe.
They allowed. Notice. They allowed.
They were voted in. I'm sorry. Am I yelling?
That's okay. Our inner monologues all get loose from time to time.
Hey, Bob.
Bob, do you have a map handy?
I'm going to go
point on your map where the nation of Israel is.
Oh, Israel?
I'm going to go look in the mirror, guys, and see if double check if I'm a normal white or like a Jesse Peterson loving white. So I'll be right back.
No, hold on. It won't do you any good because the normal whites are the Jesse Lee Peterson loving whites.
Oh.
The abnormal whites are the violent Antifas who are supported by the children of the lie.
Yeah, okay, all right, I got it. I'm going to still go check
out one mass shooting that they've done.
Yeah, none.
Crickets.
Mr. Kincaid.
Yes, sir.
I just left you a $20 Easy Rider challenge. I really appreciate you playing that, man. That made my night.
All right, so there's a $20 Easy Rider challenge on the table, courtesy of
easy to beat.
Courtesy of Steve from Georgia Stan. He needs somebody to kick in another 20.
Steve, I've got your back, bud.
There you go, baby.
Thanks,
right
brother.
there.
I appreciate that, man.
This family sticks together.
And that'll take us down.
Out.
And that'll take us down below 400. That takes us down to 390 to go, and about 37 minutes to get there.
Plenty of time for.
So hey, Bob, can I piggyback on the whole biker Easy Rider thing? Wrap it up in a little bow, if I can, please.
Do your doggondest.
Okay, Chicago. If you're ever in Chicago on a Saturday night, there is a bar on the west side called Twisted Spoke, and it's got this mechanical robot-looking guy that's twirling around on a bike, on a motorcycle. And so you go in there at Twisted Spoke, and they've got the best freaking Bloody Mary in the city, okay? And it's got a salami wedge, ball that's the size of your fist, with a huge celery stalk and just the works, right? Big thing of wedge.
Wait, a Bloody Mary with a salami?
Yes. The garnish
Damn.
is the size of your head. It's got everything in it. A pickle. It's a big pickle. Not a fucking slice of a pickle, a full pickle. It's crazy. It's the craziest Bloody Mary you'll ever encounter.
That's not a drink, that's a meal.
Yes. That's the whole point. So if you go there on a Saturday night, I think they start spinning up Easy Rider every Saturday night, maybe around 10, I think, maybe 11. And then after Easy Rider's done, then they've got porn on for the rest of the night until they close at 4. So.
Well, there you go.
Is this a gay leather bar?
No. This is no. It's heterosexual porn.
Well, no, I was going by the drink. I mean, that's a fancy drink for a straight biker bar.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's kind of. I mean, they've got a great menu, really good food. It's a solid place, and it's on the. It's pretty close to United Center, actually. Not too far.
I'll put on my assless leather chaps and head on.
Yeah, head on over. Hello, boys. How y'all doing?
Well, I see. I'll be using the brain bleach after the program now.
Whip that shit out, Bob. You're gonna need a bucket.
Head on down the highway.
The man, you need to go to the manhole for that, Scott.
No, I'm just
Oh, God damn it. We've been doing so well tonight.
the mind
To the ditch, baby. Here we go.
25 past the hour. That's not a real time check. That's just a note. 25 past the hour, and the conversation has gone straight into the fucking gutter.
Is that Eastern time or Jesse Lee time?
Yeah, we're going to take bets next time.
Straight to ass.
We'll have
What kind of white guy?
we'll have a pool. We'll have a pool, Sparky, for and a cow.
This is the right time.
And a cowbell to whoever successfully predicts when the program goes in the gutter.
Sinks into the ditch. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hey. So we got a challenge on the table from Steve. We got a challenge on the table. And we got a challenge on the table. Okay, so you, Chris, you met Steve's challenge. We got a challenge on the table from Ralphs, who says if somebody will kick in $20, I'll meet it. So that'll get us down to $350 to go if somebody will meet Ralphs' challenge. That'll be huge. And the challenge is in honor of Salia, Salia, being adopted.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Outstanding. And what better way to use your money?
Yep.
And that keep this show going.
And we kind of got diverted. I was explaining about the gizmo.
Gizmo.
John, maybe for down the road, you might want to look at one of these because, like, if you ever decide to take the show on the road.
Oh, we plan eventually.
This thing's amazing.
Really? I'll have to check into
it's called a Rode RODE Procaster.
Procaster.
Yeah.
Write that down.
And it will connect either via hardwire or Bluetooth to a cell phone. It's got automatic level setting. It's got an onboard recorder via a Class 10 memory card.
Wow.
And it looks, and I've read a bunch of reviews on it,
You
and
can do a whole show.
It's amazing.
Anyway.
It's got slide faders instead of little knobs. I really hope we can get one because it'll make life so much simpler when we go to do Netroots Nation in Philly. And another thing, by the way, John, I wanted to mention this to you, and I think the horn community needs to start thinking about it. I'm sure we all noticed that the DNC announced where goddamn DNC, fucking Debbie Wasserman Schultz, neoliberal establishment shills, Milwaukee. The 2020 convention is going to be in Milwaukee. Wisconsin in July is amazing. It's wonderful. It gets dark about 11 o'clock.
Outstanding.
And I think we should work on maybe having a little Radio Row action going on. I'm going to check in and see if any of my contacts are already starting work on it. But I think it would be great. A lot of good guests to talk to. And I don't know, John, if you could get up there. Rick Smith will probably go, I'm guessing. If I could, I think we could, and we could just sort of work at the same table. One day part after another.
Right. Would everybody have to bring their own gear, sound gear, Bob, or could you all swap it off?
Well, if I've got the stuff, I can, we can use mine.
Yeah, that would be easier for everybody.
We've got this mixer and everything, Of course, I'd have to bring my son along to use it, because I don't know how. He's got all the slides and everything.
You'll have Bob there to show you how to.
Yeah, Bob probably will work it in the whiz. Yeah,
Bob's an old sod.
I've been pushing that on my show too. Bob is the reach of the voice, baby. Because we are out of the norm. Your show, my show. We are not. East Coast, West Coast. We're in the part that seems everybody thinks is just too red, and it's not true.
Broadcasting live from behind the cornpone curtain.
There you go.
Hey, John,
I like it. Yeah.
Did you figure out how much of a haul you did on YouTube last night with that super chat donation?
I think Travis told me. I think we got I don't know, 60 or 70, I guess, because there was a $50 super chat donation.
I thought that one gal donated $100.
Did she? I don't know if that came through. I don't know. I'll ask Travis. Maybe she did.
I hope it did, brother. That'd be great, man.
that's not like PayPal. You don't get it. It goes into YouTube, and then when your check comes from Google or whatever, that's when they send you that money.
Yeah, I don't know all the logistics.
I didn't even know about Super Chat until Travis activated it or something there on our live feed. And of course, when somebody does, I think it's a picture of me and Beto shaking hands pops up.
Yep.
And makes a noise or something like that. And
Nice.
we have little bells and whistles that if somebody is a Patreon member, joins.
Yeah, I've heard some of the dings and stuff going on in the program.
Yeah.
Uncle John, you brought it up. Beto, what do you think, man? Think he's got a chance?
Well,
or?
You think I'm going to change my mind?
No, absolutely
I like
not.
the guy, but let me tell you what he said in his statement. He said that we have a big field and a lot of people to talk, and that whoever ends up being the nomination, we all need to be behind that, and we all need to support all the way. And that's what I'm trying to stress.
That's the right answer.
Anybody, everybody.
I was hoping he would take out the senator, but it's okay. I mean, if he can go for the big pie.
Yeah, I would say the same thing.
Well, and you know what? The reason he may not have decided to go after Cornyn is because there's already at least one Democrat announced who's going to challenge.
Who's going to challenge him?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and that might have been.
Then they would be biting each other's necks. So why do that?
I think. I don't know why we don't, but I don't know why we don't take the top two candidates that make it up to the cream of the crop, and whoever's at top gets president. Whoever comes in second, run for vice president, and because they always reach out. I never even heard of Kane before Hillary reached out to him, really. And you can see that in a lot of, they pick somebody.
Well, see, in the earliest days of the Republic, John, we kind of tried that, though not exactly as you're describing. In the earliest manifestation of the presidency, the Constitution said that whoever wins is president and whoever comes in second is vice president. And it took precisely 2 terms of the presidency, Washington's and Adams's, for them to figure out that wasn't going to work. Because particularly in the case of John Adams, his vice president was Thomas Jefferson, and by that point in time, they hated each other's goddamn guts.
You could even split a ticket between a vice and the president, couldn't you?
At the right moment.
Well, I mean, there was no real ticket.
Right, but you could split it. I mean, it was not unheard of. You could have a Republican president and a Democrat or a Whig or whatever.
Well, it was almost guaranteed to be that way because you got to remember this is during the time when James Madison is woe is meing and wringing his hands over what he called faction, which he said would be the death of the new republic, and which we know as political parties. His idea is that you'd have you'd have 3 or 4 people running for president, all of whom would care about the well-being of the country, and they wouldn't be part of a faction, so there's no problem. But, Jefferson was a Jeffersonian Republican, and Adams was a Federalist. And it did not work well.
What I mean about my comment. I wasn't talking about those that come in first, second, become president, vice president. I'm speaking of within our own party.
Right.
But it would be difficult because everybody running for the presidency wants to be top dog. Nobody wants to be coming in second. And it's more about the next time they run or something. I don't know how it would work, but it just seems to me that we would get a whole lot more, momentum out of shit if it was united.
Right.
But that's hard to do.
Is there a bullfrog somewhere? What is that?
Somebody snoring.
I'm trying to work on it here.
Somebody's telling me to blow it out my ass.
Yeah, Grady's getting a nap.
Oh,
Grady.
It's not Grady? Okay.
Grady has gas.
Looking right back at Hillary and Bernie, that wouldn't have worked out. I mean, it just wouldn't have been a match made in heaven because of the animosity between the two. And, I don't know, we have to come together as one party. That's the thing we have to work at is getting behind one candidate.
Yep.
Has there been any word or follow-up on Biden supposedly asked to see Stacey Abrams? They met at his request. Has anybody heard what that was about? Or
hard not to guess what that's about.
Well, yeah, great minds think alike. That's where I was going with it.
And I like Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, but Biden, I don't know.
Well, Biden's, he's got a big draw. He's a lot of people still like him. Of course, you're looking at the old.
There's already stuff coming out. Out of the gate, he's going to have to address his comments on busing. From all the way back in the 70s.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Biden's a used car salesman.
No doubt that he could run a good line on it. Ain't no doubt that he could talk his way out of it. But it still stands in his record. And
he's a moderate at best. I mean, come on, let's be honest here.
Yeah, he's more. I don't know, baby. I'm like old Hightower. There ain't nothing in the middle of the road but yellow stripes and dead armadillos.
There's that.
Yeah,
love Hightower.
Grandma moderate dynamite would be better.
What I don't want to see is Democrats picking off Democrats for the sake of their guy. Because there's going to be enough of that shit on the right coming at us, and we all love our candidate. We all want to get behind our candidate, but talk about what your candidate can do. Don't talk about what the other candidate does, whatever.
Exactly, because remember that will be used in the general election. Very few people remember that you remember Willie Horton, that sleazy business used against Michael Dukakis.
Yep.
The Republicans didn't find that. That was used against Dukakis in the primaries.
In the primaries, that's exactly what we're talking about. We can't afford to do that shit. I'm all for you supporting your candidate, the guy you love, the woman you want, all that shit. Let them speak. Let them show the vision that they have and their leadership ability to carry that out. And we all push in the same direction. But when we start jerking ourselves around and forming a circular firing squad for the sake of
nobody going to win except
it, baby. We're going to shoot ourselves in the foot, and guess who wins?
Well, and I hate because it seems pretty clear to me at this point that the multimillionaire for-profit media learned precisely nothing from 2016, largely because they made a damn fortune on it.
Oh yeah.
And so it's all it's going to be more horse race coverage. I've already heard it. Well, Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders has New Hampshire locked up, and Kamala Harris has South Carolina locked up because black, and so that means that Beto has to have Iowa, and Iowa has many white people like Beto.
Oh, shit.
God damn, really?
I hate, the worst part I hate about the assholes, and the worst part of it is always on election night because they want to call the freaking race, as fast as they can. And they'll just, it just pisses you off, that kind of talk.
And
when they try to
the other thing is
somebody's the king or the queen of whatever, it's just bullshit.
Well, and again, we're 10 months out from the first primary.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I'm really, really trying hard to not fall in. One, I'm too old now. I don't do cults. Okay. Yeah. I'm not joining any cult of personality of any particular candidate. Yeah. I got some I like better. I got some I like better than others. There are some that I just outright don't like. But I don't have to jump on a bandwagon yet.
No.
I mean, my primary doesn't come until May. My primary doesn't come till May 2020, so I'm not going to have a say in anything anyway. It'll all be over by then. But the other thing that we have to bear in mind is that some of these candidates are going to self-destruct.
Yeah.
Three things.
You touched on it.
Let me just say something real quick. The only thing that sticks in my craw about Biden is how he went to bat for the credit card companies back in the early 2000s.
And the college students.
We're all still paying for that. But I'll get over that real quick.
Bankruptcy, the credit card companies, bankruptcy reform, the busing issue from the 70s that he was just stone cold wrong about.
But I'll get over
We
that
are
real
not
quick.
without sin, people.
That's right.
Anita Hill,
We
don't
are
forget
not without
Anita
sin.
Hill.
Yeah,
It is
that's
a continuing
And see, that's
struggle to make this
that's
better.
the problem with being. I think that's the problem with presidential candidates who come from the Congress, because the nature of Congress it compromises in the nature of Congress when it works like it's supposed to. So sooner or later, you're going to cast a vote that you're going to be excoriated for simply because you were compromising to get government moving forward or keep government moving forward. And so that just creates an entire flock of albatrosses to hang around the necks of any candidates who are coming out of the House or out of the Senate.
Yeah,
And I think that's why this country likes presidents who were governors. And like I said, I'm not falling in love or getting on any bandwagons, but
No.
I from what I can tell, I'm impressed as hell with Jay Inslee.
I like that guy. The guy from
Me too.
Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Seen him
I
on a
like
lot
that
of
guy.
And
I
at the
like
same
Buttigieg,
at the
too.
same time, I feel bad because the other part of it is the Democratic Party has got to listen to the Democratic base, and the Democratic base, the most reliable, rock solid part of the Democratic base is African American women.
They're solid.
They saved us from fucking.
Here, here.
More time. There
And-
you go, Tracy, baby. Thank you, darling.
And so I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. But by the same token, and this is going to sound horrible, tear my head off if necessary.
I'm getting ready, Bob. Go ahead.
I'd like for us not to have to check boxes.
I don't want to check a box.
I want the best candidate who can stand up to that punk ass bully and tell him to sit down. You know, basically, I want a Democratic nominee who every other word. I want a Democratic nominee who wears a T-shirt with a picture of John fucking Goodman on it, and it says "Shut the fuck up, Donnie."
Fuck up, Donnie.
There you go, baby.
I want
That's
a
it.
short.
That's what
I want
I'm
a short
doing.
thing.
I don't want. That's why I like the aggressive.
Do that. Can
The
Elizabeth
aggressiveness of the
Warren do
progressives that come in. I like
John,
that.
Can Elizabeth Warren do it? Can she do that?
Well, can any of them? The other day, she showed up on my dirty little morning habit and was asked directly, "Is Mike Pence an honorable man?" And she didn't mince any words. No.
Yeah.
And the next question was, "Would you care to expand on that?" And she said, "Well, I mean," and then she went into the litany of what's wrong with Mike Pence. So I don't think
homophobe? Did she say the word homophobe?
May have.
There you go.
Hey, I need to send out some thank yous. Greenlee and Nydia met Ralph's challenges. And so thank you, Nydia. Thank you, Greenlee. And we are now down to $330 to go with about 17 minutes to get there.
Well, we can have somebody knock that down to an even 100 number, can't we?
That'd be wonderful if we could. If we could get it down below $200. Yeah.
If we could go a whole lot lower, baby.
I'm having trouble on the site, and I never have had trouble before, but I've got a PayPal app, so I'm going to try to figure that out. It could be my password or something, but you'll get it.
Yeah. You don't have to use. If you want to just use the email address that's attached to it, it's bobkincaid@gmail.com. BOBKINCAID.
That will work.
At gmail.com.
There you go.
Good.
That's the
Keep
best way
that
to roll.
voice going. That's the whole premise of those donations is to keep the message going, because this is going to be a fight for our lives, for our country.
And by the way, I had a note. I had a note from Arnold. He works. He produces for Rick Smith, and he said, "Hell yeah, Rick will be there, and we can all just share equipment."
There you go.
I think that'd be awesome.
It's getting the message out, and you can't do that kind of stuff without, it's like anything else in this world. It takes money to do that. Yeah. And no matter what you're talking about, this trip, the equipment Bob needs, keeping Bob on the air, all that stuff takes money. And there are no big sponsors kicking in any big bucks to me or anything like that. So it's it is your viewers and your listeners that keep
there's
you
gas,
alive.
there's lodging,
Oh Lord,
there's
baby.
all these logistical shit, groceries, all that shit adds up.
Everything.
11 days, he's looking at a nice.
I don't.
Coin, man.
We don't ask for a whole lot, but we at my house, we're on a tight budget, baby. This is not a big production thing. I'm in the bedroom of my house.
Yeah, damn straight. Damn straight. I mean,
this is what we do.
And
And just like the mail, for me, that's about a 15-mile trip one way to go check the mail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's,
all else,
that
else
takes.
fails on Bob's DC trip, let's chip in and get him a room inside the Beltway.
No, we've already.
I'm not meant inside, so you don't got.
We've already got our lodging set up. We found an Airbnb.
You're not staying at no Dewdrop Inn, are you, Bob?
No, we've got an Airbnb. Okay. We've got a house in the burbs.
All right, well, that's cool.
And it's about it'll take us about an hour to battle our way through DC traffic into town every morning.
No, you're not going to be
Bob is willing to go through that much effort to fight for you. Then the least we can do is pitch in that even if it's not much, baby. Even if it's not much, $1, $2,
$2 extra, yeah. Get him a jacuzzi so you can unwind it.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Bob,
all this shit we have to
when
deal
you
with.
head into DC, make sure to stop over at the Trump Hotel and take a whiz in the elevator. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what? That's a lovely thought, but I bet they have cameras. But we the last time.
Every elevator has cameras.
No. Well, Whiz is so old school. What you do is you go buy a novel. No, a Whiz. You go to a novelty shop and you buy some stink bombs. And you're walking in to the end through the entryway in the little double doors, the glass double doors, and you bend over like you dropped your pen, and you slip a couple of these stink balls under the carpet in the doorway, so that the next person walking
in. Trump name smelled like crap.
Well, and the other the other good one is Limburger in the ductwork.
Yeah, in the ductwork.
And you just kind of let it get soft, and you paint the ductwork with it.
There you go.
So it's not just sitting there a piece of stinky Limburger. You paint the ductwork with it.
They're walking all the time. I know it's right.
Not that I've ever done that.
Not that you've ever done anything like that, Bob. Nope.
Wait, is Donald in residence?
I was gonna say it smells like Donnie post Stormy.
I push that theory all the time. The name Trump translated means crap. And if you work for him, support him, or anything else, you get that smeared all over your body. You shake your hands, you wipe with that crap all over you.
Hey guys.
Hey, it's Billable Rick. Billable Rick is back.
Hey, Rick, are you all right?
I got an update.
Well, give us an update on your health.
They tell me the only thing is I got a cracked skull. Other than that, I should be okay.
Outstanding. I saw you posting there, man. What's up with that shit?
No. What I'm doing is I drove across the valley. I called my ex because she used to be a surgical sales representative, and she knows where all the good hospitals are in the area. And I didn't want to go to a hospital like in the valley. So I drove out of the valley, and I'm gonna go to Huntington Hospital in Pasadena. They have the best trauma hospital near where I live. So that's the plan. But before that, because I hadn't eaten all day, I stopped at Panda. I'm parked in the car, or actually I got a truck now. Basically eating some Panda Express. I know if I get in the hospital, I ain't gonna get any food, you know.
I'll tell you why I laughed.
That's
Rick,
not gonna help your concussion.
I had an accident one time. I was probably I don't know, in my later 20s. Yeah, and I worked steel, and I ran a grinder, a big hand grinder with a disc on it, right across my stomach. And the first thing I did was go find my wife. Hey, honey, look at this shit. Oh, get your ass to the hospital. Okay, let's go.
And Rick, I tried to call you, and they will probably beat you to this, but make sure that they know that it's due to an auto accident, because it's filed totally different. So before you get admitted or anything.
I was going about 50 when I hit him.
Yep.
So
yep.
Okay. You know, he was I was going.
Yep.
I was going due south.
Right,
I was going due south, he was headed like I guess you'd call it in a like an easterly direction with a slight north tilt. But the momentum, must have probably put him into the into the center divider because once I hit him, his car was clear. I mean, I could drive straight, and I was able to change lanes, slowly. I slowed my speed and changed lanes slowly to get to the right shoulder, the far right shoulder. So I had like 4 lanes to get over.
You're probably fine, brother.
That's why
sounds like a NASCAR crash to me.
That's why I quit driving
I got
in
one word.
California.
Chauffeur.
It's like
I
the
don't blame
bumper
you, Scott.
cars.
That's the
Bumper
saving
cars
grace.
at the county fair. Come on, people, take the bus.
Where on the 405 were you, Rick?
I was about 3/4 of a mile north of Nordhoff, if you know where that is, like near Van Nuys, I guess.
Dude, I know where Nordhoff. Come on now.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been in an
Hey,
accident.
Rick, before you
Yeah.
head to the hospital your ex told you to go to, how amicable was the divorce?
Very amicable.
Good.
In fact,
Good for you, Rick.
In fact, I sometimes wondered why we even had broken up.
You got to watch it with these exes. She'll send your ass down to the Huntington Dog and Cat Hospital.
There's a
No.
graveyard down the street. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is a good hospital. This is the best in the area, in the North LA area. So.
Well, for speaking for the Horn family and the Blue Dot family, Rick, we're just all tickled to death that you're all right.
Yeah, you better be okay.
You're a great addition, and we love you, buddy.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate that. And you know what? I'm ready to go overtime tonight. I'll go overtime until I actually get to the hospital. How's that sound, y'all?
What a man! What a man!
Sounds good.
Put the nurse on the horn as well. We'll talk to her.
Okay. We can do that.
And the family expands.
No, you don't. No, not until you know what the nurses. Not until you know what the nurses' politics are.
No, we don't know Nurse Ratchet.
Okay, if she
Or her
lives
gender.
the other way, just lure her in and we'll devour her.
Speaking politics at the rental car place, I had the phone on speaker so I could hear it, while I was waiting. It took like an hour at the rental car place to get a car. It's crazy. It took like 2 hours to get a tow today. It's like ridiculous. But anyway. Yeah, exactly. I did. Anyway, there was this lady at the rental car place, and I was playing the horn, and she said, "Could you turn that down?" I said, "Well, I'm sorry. Was that bothering you?" It's like, yeah. It's like, okay, whatever. She probably was a chimpanzee.
Turn it up.
Well, I have to say, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people, regardless of what they're listening to, is when you're in public and somebody is listening to something on their phone without earphones. I don't care what you're listening to. I don't want to hear it, and it drives me to distraction.
Well, I should have done, Trace. I should have said, "Look, lady, I don't have my earplugs because just in a fucking accident, okay?"
No,
but Tracy, you're right.
I'm too nice, though.
Public transportation.
You're a nice guy, Rick.
I can't stand
Thanks,
it.
Tom.
You're right, Tracy.
I don't care. You could be listening to one of my favorite songs, but I've gone to restaurants, public transportation, all of that, and I'm sitting there, and especially at a restaurant, and I'm trying to have my meal, and you're listening or watching a television show or listening to music and I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear what you're listening to. And I don't want to hear what you're or watching because, like when people get in my cab, for example, and when they turn on their phones and shit, and I'm like, I'm sorry, please can you please either turn it down or put on earphones because it's very distracting to me while I'm driving, because in other words, you fucking rude motherfucker, put that shit on mute or, put it, or put on some earphones. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry.
You're right.
It's one of them pet peeves. You're right. Some people are just rude. And some of them don't mean it, but
they don't mean it.
you're in public. You should have a little more courtesy.
Oblivious.
It was the way this lady said it. You know, she was like an older lady and had a walker and stuff, and just like, you know, she wasn't very nice about how she went about it. You know, and I sort of I kind of sassed her back a little bit because of her tone. You know.
Oh, I can go from real nice guy to I'll kick your ass real quick. It depends on how I'm treated, because I treat everybody I meet, no matter the situation, with as much respect as I can until you're going to start pushing buttons. And if you do, well, hold it on. You're just going to hit the wrong one.
I'll take your freaking walker away, lady. Okay, take my day.
Wow.
There's some old. There's a reason for everything. There is a reason to push the old lady down the street, down the stairs, but you just don't do it. You just don't do it. There's a reason for every freaking thing.
Throw mama from the train, right? Throw mama from the train.
Just throw mama from the train. That's right.
But see, I usually at least once a week or so, or well, not maybe as once a week, but once a month at least. I usually have at least one encounter with an old white woman who doesn't think I know my place, and I remind them that, you know, we were emancipated a while ago. Like this woman who told me, because she was going the wrong way and had plenty of room to go by my car, but she was a blind old bat and couldn't see. And she told me that I had to move. And I said, no, baby, the only thing I have to do is stay black and die.
Yeah.
You should have said,
get away from it.
If I didn't pick the cotton for your clothes, you'd be fucking naked.
Yes.
You're wrong for that. You're wrong for that.
So Tracy, I hope your lovely Jan had a wonderful 65th. Unfortunately, I was off gallivanting around the High Sierra for your party.
She was so surprised. I took there were like almost 30 people at the surprise party. We went to the Tam O'Shanter restaurant, which is if anybody's ever heard of Lowry's prime rib restaurant. It was the original Lowry's prime rib restaurant. And actually, it has a storied history because when Walt Disney first started it, that's where he used to do a lot of his drawings. As a matter of fact, the table that he used to sit at, there's a plaque there for where he used to sit at when he would come in and do his drawings back in, because Walt Disney Studios, the original studios, was not far from where the restaurant is. But we had the prime rib was ridiculous. They had like they had 4 different cuts of prime rib, from like the California cut, which is what I had, which is the smallest cut, to something that looked like pretty close to half a cow with prime rib that has. I never known prime rib to have a bone in it. It was just so everybody had that.
The really good stuff has bones.
Well, see, I've never known, and I'm like, but I'm sorry, the cream spinach was good, but mine was so much better, and I made twice baked potatoes and sourdough bread with real butter, and I had this drink. I can't remember what was in it, other than ginger beer, and vodka, I think.
Oh, that's a Moscow Mule.
Moscow Mule.
No, it wasn't a Moscow Mule. No, Alex had a Moscow Mule. It was something else.
A Moscow Mule is ginger beer, lime, and vodka.
Well, see, and it had something else in it other than that. Like some kind of an orangey thing as well. So Alex had the Moscow Mule because it was in the brass cup, and mine was just in a regular cocktail glass.
Maybe it's an Omaha Mule or something like that, Tracy, because they have different varieties of Moscow of mules.
It was actually the Tam, because it's seasonal. It was the Tam O'Shanter punch, and the ingredients change seasonally. So, like I said, I just remember and I'm not a big vodka drinker. You got to catch me on a good day to drink any kind of vodka.
Mm-hmm.
But this was good. I mean, and the service, we had one waitress for damn near 30 people, and she did not mess up one order. And even better, Everybody had to get they did separate checks. So you could pick, so whoever, let's say couples and whatever. So whoever you were paying for on your check, that's what she put on your check. There's nothing worse. There is nothing worse than going out to dinner with a bunch of motherfuckers and have to split the check. Because it's always that one person. It never failed. I would order a salad and because I would be broke as hell, and I always wound up with spending $40. I'm like, but I only had a salad, because there was always that asshole that orders a ton of drinks and a ton of food, and somehow only winds up, just never puts in, their share. So they were gracious.
In other words, it's the token Republican in the crowd, right?
There you go.
The free rider.
Going back to the issue of people, cell phones, no earbuds, that kind of thing. I got a cowbell for Robert in Australia. Put your thumb and little finger up to your face, pretend it's a phone, and you start yelling. What? No, I can't hear you. Because there's someone next to me yelling into their mobile phone. That's why. That's just beautifully subversive. We're officially into overtime. I
know you got to go, Bob.
Well,
one more pitch, baby, before we go.
No, wait.
But I got a couple of things here, because sometimes stories just sort of dovetail with each other. This happened, I think, last weekend. A Fox Sports announcer got pulled in the middle of the game from calling a hockey match. His name's Doug McLeod. It was the Minnesota Boys State Hockey Tournament Class AA quarterfinals. Yes, in Minnesota, they broadcast high school hockey.
Wow.
And that's when this happened.
All the White Bear fans get out the lynching ropes. Just reporting. All the White Bear fans get out the lynching ropes. Just reporting.
What did he say?
All the White Bear fans get out the lynching ropes. Just reporting. And they yanked him. They yanked him post haste.
Wow. They just
everybody, get the fuck off the microphone, or you stupid.
And so then they've got an amateur hockey, Western New York Amateur Hockey League. Okay, it was back in January when Amherst played Cheektowaga. And the players from Cheektowaga can be seen on video taunting the one black guy who was playing for the other team, a guy named Rashawn Brown Hall. One of them can be heard. One of them can be heard screaming, "Fuck you, monkey!" And the rest of his team making ape noises at the player.
One cockroach teaches another cockroach. One father passes that to his son. That's what it works. Yep. That's where that comes from.
Yes.
It's just disgusting.
Cheektowaga, New York.
Nothing to do with being politically correct or anything. It's about being human, you assholes.
I think it's time to kill them all and let God throw them out in the head. What do y'all
That's
think?
what they used to say, baby.
Huh?
That's what they used to say, but we got to let God do the killing.
Is that Cheektowaga?
That's the way that all works.
Suburb of Buffalo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where my assless chaps are made. Proudly made. Cheektowaga.
That's it.
Cowbell.
Yeah. You earned that one, Scott.
I know you're going into overtime, baby. I know people out there need to understand. Citizens United gave money the power of free speech. It's embedded in our House and our Senate. The only action we have besides getting rid of that bill as soon as we can one day, striking that down from the Supreme Court, is money is free speech. and your money helps keep Bob's voice active, baby. It's the only counter they have. We can't compete with the talking heads on mainstream media and all that shit. There's big sponsors and there's huge money out there, baby. It doesn't take much to keep Bob's voice going. It is so important. I know Bob hates asking for it, because who does? Who likes asking for that shit? But it is so important. It's your dime that gets this going. So before we get off,
and we don't want the corporate poison.
And Bob needs to do road broadcasters so we can go up there and give you all the information straight from Wisconsin, baby.
Won't that be cool? I mean, you got to start planning now. And I got a note from Ralphs, who put up one of the challenges earlier. Ralphs wrote in and said, "Hey, I live in Milwaukee, so we'll get to hang out with Ralphs maybe."
You go. The family is large and it's all over the place, baby. That's what I love about it. The Horn family, the Blue Dot family. You know,
and John, if you're up there, if you make it up there, you'll get to have your first Culver's burger.
Culver's.
Oh.
You got my attention, Bob.
Yeah, we don't have that in Portland.
Food porn again.
Yeah, that best
in front of my. Come here, boy. Come here. And I'd be like, yeah.
and see, I mean, I know out west they swear by In-N-Out Burger and Jack in the Box.
I do not. I cannot. I probably would. I can. It's not that I cannot stand In-N-Out burgers, but if I'm going to have a burger, I want my meat patty to be big, thicker than a slice of pepperoni.
Yeah, I'm right with you.
Whoa.
Just one of them one day. Okay. I ain't had In-N-Out. I ain't had a Five Brothers. Somebody said, or
Five Guys.
Five Guys.
Well,
Guys.
unless you can spend you can spend the same amount of money at Five Guys that you can spend on a sit-down dinner at Outback.
Okay. I was surprised I realized I went to
Can't afford
about a month ago. Oh my God! I should have taken out a second mortgage on my fucking house. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
That's how Red Robin is too. Yeah.
And of course, John,
it's a sit-down restaurant.
You got Whataburger, and I like Whataburger. I like
it's a good hamburger. I like their menu. They got good stuff on there, and I like it.
There's Culver's burger. Is that the one with the cheese in the middle of the patty, in the center of the meat, or butter?
No, it's the one of them is the for instance, our buddy the Sage of Southwest Wisconsin turned me on to the Culver's Blue Butter Burger.
Blue Butter Burger.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
They fry the patties in butter, and then they hit it with a bunch of Wisconsin blue cheese.
There you go. That's living. That's living.
Do they give you a defibrillator with that, Bob?
Yeah.
And
they bring you back with a smile on your face.
The bacon blue burger, and they're also a creamery, so they make their own homemade frozen custard every day.
And a complimentary defibrillator with every order.
Yeah, it's on the table. It's on the table, Steve, right there next to the napkin dispenser. There's the napkin dispenser, the salt, the pepper, and the defib.
Is that the place where you've got
Hell, we're good to go. Sign me up, man.
You got to sign a medical release before they'll serve you?
No,
I think that's the cardiac burger in Vegas or something like that. In Nevada somewhere.
Yeah, there is a place.
Yeah.
Yep. And the other thing, John, you'll get a chance to try deep fried cheese curds.
Oh
man.
Squeaky. Gotta be squeaky.
Gotta be squeaky. If they're not squeaky, they're not good.
They gotta squeak.
That's my problem. I have not lived enough.
My arteries are getting wet.
More than half of what y'all talk about, I sit here and go, I wonder what that tastes like. Gee, man, they go where?
And maybe find somebody that'll turn us on to some walleye.
There you go. I'm always up for fish.
And I'll bring the homemade tartar sauce.
I'll bring some other things that goes with everything.
Tartar sauce. and I'll bring the New Glarus spotted cow.
Oh, we're going to be in Wisconsin, so I'll
love
bring
this Horn family.
I'm gonna bring back 6 or 8 cases of illegal spotted cow.
Yeah.
It'll be like Smokey and the Bandit, only with good beer.
Nothing.
Only with good beer.
Shit.
Well, I got to scoot, y'all, so I got to skedaddle.
Well, we probably
great
need
Bob.
to. I need to head along as well. But it's been a great conversation, everybody. Thanks everybody for jumping in. It was a hoot tonight. Didn't hear. I don't think I heard Clarity say anything, but I hope you're healing up nicely, Clarity, and just keep us in the loop.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I hope Jim. Has anyone heard from Jim, Bob, at all?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
But again,
it was good to hear Charlie the other day. I hadn't heard from him in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, Monique sent this along, a tweet. The FBI and the DHS report that white supremacy is the U.S.'s greatest terror threat. So, yeah, today a reporter asks, do you consider white supremacy a threat? And Julius Geezer responded, I don't really. It's a very small group of people.
That was his answer. That was his answer.
He's killing people, and he's
downplays
getting away with it. He might
That's
as
what he
well.
is.
He may as well have pulled the trigger in Christchurch.
He preaches it.
Yep.
That's what his message is, baby. No doubt.
Well, so we'll get after it Monday. Fundraising goal, unless it goes down over the weekend, will be $530. Maybe it will go down. It'd be nice if it did.
Let's hope so.
Yeah,
let's hope so.
And God only knows it'll be more on Monday, and we'll probably have them coming out our ears. So thanks, everybody, for the great conversation in the Extraordinary Ordinary Roundtable. Hey, thanks, Tracy, for making our day here with those magnificent pastries. Wowzer. Yeah, I'm thinking about maybe there'll be a hot one waiting for me when I close the mic here. Dare to dream. That's our motto for going into 2020. Thanks to all of you who do keep the program on the air. Thank you to our subscribers and to those of you who kick in a la carte through the course of the month. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you who share your precious finite time engaging in the program. Thank you to our all-volunteer staff. Thanks to Sparky and Steve. Thank you to our news ninjas. Thank you to Brother Deacon Asa, headon.live. Thanks to John Fox in Australia. Thank you, Ben Birch, whiterosesociety.org. Thank you to the hardest-working, bravest people I know, the men and women of Coal River Mountain Watch, crmw.net, celebrating 20 years leading the struggle in Appalachia for environmental justice, human rights, and human dignity, and doing more of that work next month in D.C. And always, 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 Gina, it's all for you. Later, y'all. Have a great weekend.